Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Yes, yes, yes. We have made it to Thursday, also known as Friday Eve. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass for us, as always, doing his thing. Man, oh man, everything I've been saying these last couple days about De'Aaron Fox and feeling better about the De'Aaron Fox situation because Jimmy Butler showed us what real drama looks like. All of that just gets thrown completely out the window by one Sam Amic. And I love Sam. We always chat whenever we see each other at games. Sam is a great dude. Love that he's a part of the station on the morning show. But Sam Amic just coming in hot and really just destroying my dreams. So a little bit later in the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to start at 10:30. We're going to talk about what Sam had to say. The Kings Roundtable returns, and we're going to hear what Brendan Nunez and Frankie Cardicelli have to say about what Sam Amic said on the morning show, what's realistic for the Kings. We'll get the guys' thoughts on the starting lineup, potential changes, and making a move. That's all coming up in the 11 o'clock hour as we get you ready. I know it's been a long couple days. When the Kings were losing, felt like they played every single day, right? It's just a loss over and over and over again. But now that they're winning, it feels like you got to wait all this time. I know they just had a back-to-back, but it feels like you got to wait all this time to see your Sacramento Kings play. And you want them to keep playing because of the momentum. It's great that they're getting some rest, and De'Aaron Fox should be ready to go tomorrow. We got to confirm that. Should be ready to go. But I would have loved for them to just keep playing because we like what we're seeing. So we'll continue to dive into exactly what we're seeing from the Sacramento Kings. And will this break cool them off a little bit? The Celtics will have a bit of a break too. Like we mentioned, they played, what was it? Not last night, but the night before against a Nuggets team with that altitude in Denver with no Nikola Jokic. And of course, the Celtics took care of business. We saw some other high-level basketball last night as the Cavs and the Thunder did battle. The Cavs looked good, man. And Donovan Mitchell, he really didn't do too much to start the game. That is a balanced team. They are working back and forth with Jared Allen and Mobley. They are figuring out ways to just move forward and continue to get better every single day. The Kenny Atkinson thing. So now every time I look at these new coaches, now it reminds me of Mike Brown, who, by the way, I feel like I'm on that show Gossip Girl, if anybody remembers that one, spotted De'Aaron Fox and Mike Brown at a local restaurant. So there was a picture that Carmichael Dave posted, and yeah, it seems like all the reports. Look, I don't know if I got egg on my face. Look, like I said, I never said that De'Aaron Fox did or didn't want Mike Brown. I just had an observation when De'Aaron did his initial presser, but we know how De'Aaron can be with the media sometimes. So a picture speaks louder than words, and De'Aaron Fox taking that picture with Mike Brown in the midst of this 5-game winning streak. Obviously, he hasn't been out there. At the very least, it does lead you to believe that all the reports of De'Aaron having that relationship with Mike Brown is true. I don't know if maybe that's lending itself to the conversation of, did the Kings make the right move moving on from Mike Brown in terms of keeping De'Aaron Fox? So there is all of that happened that will break down. But getting back to the new coaches, so you have Kenny Atkinson, who, you know, he had coached for the Nets, and then he kind of, not the same as Mike Brown, but similar to Mike Brown. He was a head coach, and then he goes back to being an assistant coach. If I'm not mistaken, I think he took Mike Brown's spot with the Golden State Warriors when Mike Brown took the Kings job. So then you have Kenny Atkinson. He hangs with the Warriors, did not win a championship as an assistant coach the same way Mike Brown did. Everybody is trying to figure out, can we make Jared Allen and Mobley work together? And obviously Kenny Atkinson had that relationship with Jared Allen in in Brooklyn. So they bring Kenny Atkinson in, and they're balling, right? They're doing their thing. Donovan Mitchell, I really think is Donovan Mitchell one of the least talked about superstars in the league? Is he a superstar? It's very De'Aaron Foxy, the Donovan Mitchell thing. I know he's more of a shooting guard, but there are a lot of parallels there. I would say that the Cavs have a higher ceiling than what the Kings had, but you have a superstar and Donovan Mitchell. You got that secondary guy and Darius Garland. Again, I'm pretty sure the Cavs roster is better than the Beam Team roster, but you have a team who is balling. Nobody thought that they would be first. At one point, we thought that the Cavs were going to explode because there was a report that Darius Garland didn't want to come back if Donovan Mitchell didn't come back, and there were reports that Donovan Mitchell wanted to go to New York. And somehow, some way, a couple months later, they're number one in the West, in the East, and they just beat the number one team in the West last night. So I'm watching this through a different lens because now what Kenny Atkinson is doing, very similar to what Mike Brown is doing. And I know the Cavs have messed around being 4 and 5 and 6 seeds in the East the last couple seasons ever since acquiring Donovan Mitchell, but now he's changing the expectations. So what's going to happen is that we've seen before, they're going to be the 1 or 2 seed in the East. We'll see how far they go. Very similar to the Kings and taking on the Warriors. They're not going to be picked against the Celtics, right? Because the Celtics are the defending champ.
They might not get picked, but I think they're going to be betting favorites.
Sure. Now, the difference is I think that's probably the only team I think the Cavs would be picked. The only other team that people might feel more inclined to pick because of history and because of championship pedigree would be the Bucks. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people would pick the Cavs over the Bucks right now. So what you're seeing is the Cavs are now having their breakout season. They're going to be the 1 or 2 seed. At worst 3 seed. I don't really see that possible.
It's going to be 1 or 2.
Let's see what happens in the playoffs. Let's assume they don't win the championship. And now all of a sudden, expectations change, and exceeding expectations is harder than meeting them. And now Kenny Atkinson is going to go into next season with some crazy expectations. And how does he react to that? That season 2 for these coaches that have these breakout seasons can be tough. So I'm watching this and I'm seeing this picture with Mike Brown and De'Aaron Fox and what the Kings are doing now. And I'm thinking, okay, so Kenny Atkinson, he's balling right now. I don't know that they'll win the championship, but now you're almost a victim of your success. And I feel like to a certain degree, Mike Brown was a victim of his success. Now, at the same time, I don't think they would, and none of these coaches would call themselves a victim because they want to keep winning. Mike Brown didn't come here to lose to the Warriors in the first round, and for that to be the height of what the Kings did. They want to continue to move forward, but it's a little bit different when you're surprising people with your success versus when people are expecting that success. And that second year for Mike Brown, I think, laid the groundwork. Obviously, they still extended him. I think there was public pressure to extend him. I'm going to be completely honest. And we know that to some degree because of how long it took to extend Mike Brown. There was a lot of back and forth on it. I don't know that they wanted to extend him, but they didn't know what else to do, and it would look really bad if they didn't. But they extend Mike Brown anyway. Even though the Kings lost a bunch of games, I don't think ownership and the front office thought that they should have lost. I don't think the Kings, even with the injuries, right? Oh, well, you lost Malik Monk or you lost Kevin Huerter. Well, you are better equipped to withstand those losses if you don't trick off games that you shouldn't have tricked off. So you have a situation there where those guys go down. You're in a spot where you never should have been, and then the next thing you know, you're a 9 seed. And I don't think anybody in that organization, even with how things went down with Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk, thought that the Kings should have been a 9 seed last season. So they already didn't meet expectations. Then you lose to a Pelicans team, number 1 for the 6th time. So that speaks to lack of, look, you could say that speaks to a lack of roster construction, or you could say that speaks to a lack of game preparation and just being in a good space because there was no Zion Williamson. So that was a bad look too. You lost to a team for the 6th time and they were missing their star. So then those expectations weren't met. And the whole thing went haywire this past season. They did not want to extend Mike Brown, and they're telling us this because they're willing to pay him to go away. That's what the Kings have done. They have paid Mike Brown to go away. So now I look at this Kenny Atkinson thing. He is you're changing the culture. You're turning everything into a winning environment. Not that the Cavs have had plenty of success, right? Especially being in that East, even post LeBron. But now, after this season, depending on what happens, let's say they go to the conference final, now that's going to be the expectation. So I think it's really interesting how your success can actually hurt you in a way just based on, hey, this is where we've set the expectation. You can look at Golden State with Steve Kerr, right? I don't know that team is better than their record, maybe a little bit better, but y'all will tell me right now, Buddy Hield as your number one scorer off the bench, that's not going to fly, homie. And you lose the Anthony Melton, and Dennis Schroeder has forgotten how to play basketball. Somebody needs to get Dennis Schroeder the like Mike shoes, but the expectation is always going to be a championship. Some of the only guys, I think Eric Spoelstra, I don't think suffers from that. Maybe it's the market. I don't think Eric Spoelstra suffers from that too bad, even though they've gone to the finals. I think it comes off as if Eric Spoelstra has done more with less most times. And you know I'm not a huge Jimmy Butler guy. Ty Lue never has a full team. Ty Lue might have one of the best gigs because he's always exceeding expectations because he never has his full roster. He hasn't had his full roster the whole time he's been with the Clippers.
It's nice to have an ownership group that believes in you and is willing to just keep you around because they know they can't do better.
So as I watch this Cavs Thunder game, and obviously the Thunder, they got to look, they're in the same situation. The Thunder are going to be facing Celtics, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown questions if they don't get a championship within the next couple years. That's how this thing works. You're the young, cool darling until you lose what? 1, 2, 3 years in the playoffs, and then it's, are they good enough? Should we blow it up? And people are wondering, what can we get for a Jalen Williams? So I'm watching last night, and I'm thinking, man, this isn't the same as the Kings situation, but it's not terribly different. And now Kenny Atkinson will have these expectations moving forward, and you love it, and you live for it. But if it doesn't happen, things change very, very quickly, as we've seen. Okay, going to get to a break. On the other side, like I said, we have plenty of sound from Coach Doug Christie on how he is simplifying everything for the Kings. We talk Saleh to the Raiders. Robert Saleh being interviewed by the Raiders. Saleh, I don't know. I don't know if you want to go there, buddy. And like I said, I'm a Raider fan. We have conversations about DeMar DeRozan and just how clutch he's actually been. And, of course, we have the Roundtable coming up in about 45 minutes. Allen Stiles Show. Let's get it. Sacktown Sports.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Intercepted by Fred Warner.
Faithful to the Bay.
Fred gets up and runs back the other way, 30.
Don't miss the excitement of 49ers game day. Secure your spot at Levi Stadium for the 2025 season.
20, one block and he's in.
Season tickets are available now. Inventory is limited, so to speak with a representative, call 415-GO-49ers.
Touchdown!
That's 415-GO-49ers.
San Francisco!
This year, resolve to save on the all-new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. With $8,000 off MSRP after rebates on over 30 new half-ton Silverado LT and RST. After rebates. And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big. Huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Must own 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. We are patient or impatiently waiting for the Sacramento Kings to take the floor out there in Boston. It's going to be a good one. I'm not getting blowout vibes. I don't know if I'm getting win vibes yet. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. We'll do dog segment, prop talk. Let me tell you, a buddy of mine, let's just say double overtime is always good for the overs. That's how I'll put it. Let's just say it was a really good night. It was a really good night against the Heat. Double overtime, always good for the overs. So let's see if we can keep it rolling. That's all coming up tomorrow on the show. And as we start to get to the text line, we're going to open up the phone lines in a little bit because we have the roundtable coming up at 11. From the text line, 916-339-1140, this is from our boy Dwayne. Dwayne says, another blueprint Monty probably doesn't see. You have Mobley and Allen, a true front line. And, of course, that's Evan Mobley, who is supposed to be, he's still super young. He's 23. He's 23 from Kyle's area, from San Diego. He's 23 years old. And then you have Jared Allen, who's more of that traditional, really one of the few traditional centers left that is producing at a high level. You know, Dwayne, the only thing I'll say about that is what were they saying about Evan Mobley and Jared Allen for the last couple of years before Kenny Atkinson came in? They were saying, I don't think it's going to work. These guys were getting a 4 and a 5 seed because of the weak East. And you had the collection of talent, right? You had on paper Mobley, who and let's not get it twisted. Mobley is continuing to improve. So he's only 23. So the last couple of years, he was 22, 21 years old. You had Jared Allen, you had Don, and then you had the battle of the backcourt with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland trying to figure out, okay, who's going to do what. So I don't know that that's a blueprint, because a blueprint would mean that this is happening on multiple teams around the league. It's not. A lot of people were wondering if it would even work at all.
I was really surprised Cleveland ran it back from where they were last year, because when they fired JB Bickerstaff, they had gone to the first round 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. They won a playoff series against Orlando, got to the second round last year. Obviously, injuries they hit at that time, but they were playing Boston, so they probably would have lost even with a healthy Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
And they brought back basically the same team with a new coach, and they seem to have taken a gigantic leap. I mean, the names don't jump out. Like if you go 8 deep down this team, you have Mitchell, you have Garland, Allen, Mobley. Those are the stars. And then you get to Georges Niang, Caris LeVert, Ty Jerome, Dean Wade are the guys getting significant minutes. But when you put it all together, they are the best offense in the NBA, and right now the best offense in NBA history.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that this collection of 8-9 guys all put together, and they don't even have Max Strus right now. It's all been clicking in a way that no one seemed to expect, because they're the only team in the NBA shooting better than 50% from the field.
Yeah.
As a team, they're shooting 40.5% from the three-point line. Only team in the NBA over 40%. Like, their offense is just so excellent that I kind of want to put it out there now. They're probably going to coast to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the only team that's going to have a shot at beating them is Boston.
Yeah, Boston. I mean, the Knicks are still trying to figure things out. On the OKC side, you know, this was a worry. It's funny how things become worries, and then we just don't really talk about them when it's actually happening, and maybe some of that is PR. This guy is not the same as Zion. He hasn't been in the league as long as Zion. But there was a big question mark with Chet Holmgren and his ability to stay healthy because of that frame that he has. And what has happened, but Chet Holmgren, I mean, again, it hasn't been Zion level, but Chet's missed some time here. And, you know, a lot of the guys that we see that have this frame, there's Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. But then you get the Porzingises of the world and guys like that who they get dinged up. I saw the play when Chet went down. All he was doing, and he can block shots, don't get me wrong, he was trying to contest on Andrew Wiggins, and he went down. It was, initially, it honestly looked fairly similar to the De'Aaron Fox fall, if I'm not mistaken. And you have a team where the Thunder, I think, to win this whole thing is going to need Chet Holmgren. I don't know that the Celtics need Porzingis. I think it takes them over the top, but I think the Celtics would have a chance to win the whole thing without them. I don't think the Thunder, I just think that they need another scoring option. And I don't think the Thunder have the horses to win the whole thing without Chet. And Chet, again, not Zion level, but some of those questions from the draft where it was, can you draft a guy like this? How available is he going to be for you? And I know we get the reports, oh, he gained all this weight. That's fine, but he's clearly – they're not freak accidents. These are just basketball plays. I think that's the scariest part. So from the Cavs point of view, I think they're rock and roll, and we'll see how they handle the Celtics. From the Thunder point of view, I do think the West is more of a mess. And if they don't have Chet, I don't know who's the team that's going to get them, but they could get got.
Yeah, they're going to have to play 3 difficult rounds regardless of who they draw at this point. Although, man, Oklahoma City, Jalen Williams is one of the most interesting players in the league to me right now because he's going to make the All-Star team in the West this year. And everyone's going to be surprised when he does make the All-Star team in the West, even though the Thunder just won 15 games in a row and were 30-4 before this. But Jalen Williams is 21, 22 years old and is going to be an all-star in the West. And that's the 3rd best player on that team. It's crazy how deep that team is. They have the MVP of the league right now. Oklahoma City is probably going to have a tougher road just because of the West, but I feel better about saying they're going to make the finals than Cleveland or Boston.
No, that's fair. That's fair. The difference between the East and the West is that, funny enough, it feels like the ceiling is actually higher in the East this season than the West. The West have a bunch of teams that are good. You don't know. I mean, the Mavs came out of the West last season as the 5 seed.
What's unique about the NBA this season versus last year is last year I felt like there were legitimately 6 teams that could have won the finals going into the playoffs, and Dallas was one of those teams. No one really expected to get to the finals, and then they did. This year I'm looking at it, it's like 3 teams. There's 3 teams that can win the championship. It's Oklahoma City, Cleveland, and Boston. Everyone else, good luck to you, but those are the only 3 teams I think can win the championship.
All right, when we return, we have Coach Christie on the Kings simplifying everything that they're doing. And don't worry, we got that Sam Amic sound for you. That's all coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. Sam Amic says the writing is on the wall for De'Aaron Fox. Somebody on the Sack Chat trying to say Allen threw Fox under the bus and he's trying to backtrack. Look, El Lamopoli or whatever your name is. I don't moonwalk, brother. Tell me what I said. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home of the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It is Thursday, getting out the door to a cool and potentially foggy start. Look for some areas of patchy fog, but it clears out pretty quickly. And by the afternoon, we're left with plenty of sunshine, light winds, and highs today in the upper 60s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Don't miss the excitement of 49ers Game Day by securing your 2025 season tickets now. Inventory is limited, so speak with a representative. Dial 415-GO-NINERS and reserve your seats. That's 415-GO-NINERS.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system? You were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khdk.com.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check you have a full tank of gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions. Plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with 0 down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Happy New Grill. Whitey here reminding you that not all grills are created equal. Give your family a real treat as we did on Christmas Eve. Bring out all the flavors of the new year with the amazing Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers. Napoleon grills have features other grills can't match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Complete with a lifetime warranty and premium steel that boasts absolute quality. Whitey and Napoleon Grills wish you Happy New Year. Visit Green Acres Nursery today for your best selection of Napoleon grills and accessories.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Another name has been added. I'm just now seeing this 3 minutes ago. Here's a report, Forbes Sports, Evan Sidery. The Bucks, Knicks, Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, and Sacramento Kings are among the teams recently expressing trade interest in Nick Richards. Richards is averaging 9.2 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game. The Hornets are open to moving some of their veterans for future draft capital. Yeah, the Hornets, they're really willing to help facilitate some of their talent to a lot of different teams to get LaMelo. LaMelo's still so young, to get LaMelo what he may need moving forward. I mean, they could easily capture the flag, and you get LaMelo, and Cooper Flag had a ridiculous dunk. What was that, this weekend? And He's been balling for Duke. I can't wait for March Madness, by the way. And Nick Richards is one of those guys who is clearly on multiple teams' radar. He would be one of those centers that a lot of Kings fans have been looking for. Goes 7 foot. I believe he would be coming off the bench, but there might be some conversations of rotations with him and Domantas Sabonis. So if you've been looking for a big man, that is good news for you Kings fans out there that have been looking for another center to help Domantas Sabonis, not instead, but along with Alex Len, or to maybe play along with Domantas Sabonis. So that report just came out. Let's get to this Doug Christie sound on simplifying everything that the Kings are doing and how they've been reacting to it. Here it is.
How have you changed that up, if at all? I'm just trying to simplify what I see, especially when you're in this type of position. It's like I need things that make me comfortable enough to lead them. And then at the same time, I want them to have the confidence in what I'm saying. So just try to simplify what they do. And we've been tweaking, and we continue to tweak to more stylistically what my personality is. And that's really it. I mean, this is all about them and their talent. That's really like when they make shots and we win, like, yeah, I look like great. But when you don't, then I'll take those bullets, and that's all good. So it's about them. It's about them feeling good, playing good, and trusting each other.
That was Doug Christie on the team and just simplifying everything. I think that, a big part of what they have been preaching time and time again is it just feels more, we know what we're supposed to do. The coach trusts us. It's on us. And at times I'm not having to look over my shoulder to confirm, okay, am I doing this right? And again, De'Aaron Fox spotted out with Mike Brown yesterday. They were enjoying a nice meal together, it appeared, at a local restaurant. And that's not to bag on Mike Brown. I just feel like it's more, it's like a parent versus the cool uncle. That's what the vibes are giving me. Now, sometimes, and somebody else, I saw a couple Kings fans saying it gives substitute teacher vibes, where it's, y'all want to watch a movie? Let's just watch a movie, right? And that's all fine and good, but at some point, the kids need to learn something. And I'm not saying that the kids, being the Sacramento Kings, aren't learning something, but right now, I do still think we're in that beginning phase of anything. I'm so tired of listening to my parents that when my uncle comes in and tells me the same exact thing, I listen to him because he's cool and he drives a Corvette, and I'm just really excited to hear what my uncle has to say. Now, how long do you listen to your uncle? And eventually you do go back to listening to your parents, right? So how long will all of this last? Obviously, it's not a spot-on comparison because Doug Christie will be the head coach moving forward. And then that's the other thing as well in this situation. Going from substitute teacher, let's just assume that they give Doug Christie that position, or he's earned it, right? And next season, he's the head coach. Do things get looked at differently? What did we just talk about with Kenny Atkinson and also with Mike Brown? The expectations. Right now, there are zero expectations for the Kings. There are zero expectations for the Kings tomorrow night. I haven't looked at the line yet. We'll look at it closer when we know if De'Aaron Fox is going to play or not. But nobody is expecting the Kings to go into Boston, especially now that they have Porzingis back, and beat the Boston Celtics. I don't care how many games in a row the Kings have won. So they're still operating with no expectations. This is something that they can't necessarily achieve until they do again. And how do you get expectations? By winning basketball games. So right now, they're climbing, they're clawing, they're doing everything they can to get back in the conversation. Once those expectations, if you go on a run like the Kings have been going on, and, by the way, everyone, I've seen this 15 different times, some from Carmichael Dave, some from other people. If the Warriors lose tonight, the Kings will be they'll be the 7th seed. They'll be the 8th seed. They'll be the next. I don't care. I really don't. I do not care. Just like Mike Tomlin, we do not care. We do not care.
I wish I had that sound. I don't.
You have the Celtics tomorrow night. Then you have the Bulls, you never know what Bulls team you're going to get. Then you have the Milwaukee Bucks all on the road. So I'm just not in the business of these tiny victories. I know it sounds cool because of where the Kings have come from, but they were just the 12 seed. It's not as if I know they were behind a good amount of games. Don't get me wrong. And you know what? I don't police fandom, but me personally, I don't care.
We do not care.
We don't. Thank you, Mike Tomlin.
We do not care.
Thank you. So anybody that's happy and tonight, if the Warriors lose, we can literally say that, oh, the Kings are in the play-in. Cool. I'm not going to come down your road. Me personally, don't care. Don't care, because I'm looking at what the Kings have coming up these next couple nights, and that's what I'm paying attention to.
We do not care.
Because you can lose these games. You can lose to the Celtics, Bulls, and the Bucks. Hopefully you don't lose to all three of them, but you can lose to them, go 1-2, and then you're right back in the same spot. So we are not, in my opinion, we're not close enough to play that game yet.
We do not care.
I don't. And neither does Mike Tomlin. So
we do not care.
So that's where everything is at. And just exactly what Doug is preaching these guys. I guess what I'm struggling with is everything is simple, everything is simple, everything is simple. Cool. At some point, there will be another tough stretch. Actually, maybe there won't be, but there will be another tough stretch at some point this season. And Doug doesn't need the counterpunch yet because they've been winning games and it's working. But there are still a lot of question marks as to how they will react. I think they passed one when the Heat gave them that zone. And the Kings struggled with the zone, and they struggled in that game. But they found a way to overcome it. We saw the Kings against that zone with no Tyler Hero, with no Jimmy Butler, lose that game last season. And honestly, I don't think it was particularly close. So we've seen the Kings say, we are a different team. They are starting to show us that they are a different team than what we've seen in the past. But they have to keep moving in that direction. They got to keep moving in that direction. And what we're hearing from Doug Christie is it's straight up, right? I'm just telling them this, you got to do your job here. You got to do your job here. We're going to fight for each other. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And right now it's working. We are going to see here in these next couple weeks with these road trips and the toughest schedule and being on the road when the going gets tough, we might even see a better version of Doug Christie because he picked up the Kings in a really rough spot. But right now, they're starting to, I'm not saying they're starting to feel himself, but maybe there is a bit of a swagger that's coming back, which isn't a bad thing, but you have to harness that with the fact that we ain't done nothing yet. We're fighting to be the 10 seed. That's not something to brag about.
Don't you think they should be feeling themselves a little bit? Like, the vibes have to be so much better than they were before.
Vibes good, but you should still understand that you're in a hole.
Yeah, and I suppose that they do, but it doesn't have to be we're burying our heads in the sand and one, next game is the only game and stuff like that. Like, the vibes are much better, it would appear, than it was when they were blowing the game against the Pacers or blowing the game against the Pistons. So in that respect, I think they should be feeling good about themselves. And even though you're playing the toughest matchup probably of the season, which is the Boston Celtics on the road, this is probably the best time to do that, which is coming off a 5-game winning streak with 3 days of rest leading up to the game and getting De'Aaron Fox back healthy. I do feel like that is something that lends itself to better vibes.
Well, it's a balance, right? And all I'm saying is you just got to keep the hunger, because you shouldn't go in there thinking, oh man, we got the Celtics. No, you need to walk in there with, I know the mentality that Malik Monk always has. I don't give a who it is. We're gonna be up. We're gonna be up in there, and we're gonna do what we need to do, and we're gonna compete at a high level. So it's not about that. You should walk in knowing that you can compete with these guys. I'm just saying from the standpoint of, oh well, we're the 9 seed now, we're the 8 seed now, we're the 10 seed now. That is how things get slippery and how you end up a game out. You need to be saying, guys, if we keep playing like this, we can get to the 6 seed. We can get to the 5 seed. So when I'm seeing people, I understand putting it in context, and I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just saying that I don't want the expectations to change too much just because of how bad things were early. So now everybody feels good that they're in the 9 seed when if you mentally aren't happy about being the 9 seed, you could still get the 7. You could still get the 6 and not even have to mess around with that bad playing. Which nobody wants.
Sure, but standings watching the whole time can drive you insane. Imagine trying to follow them in the standings.
No,
so far
I
this
agree.
season.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what they did last season. They had the standings in the locker room, and it clearly didn't work.
Yeah, and partially that was injury related, but yes, I think to your point, that is fair.
Okay, Sam Amic, my guy, love him. One of the best basketball minds, not just in the area, but in the NBA right now. Sam Amic was on the morning show, and he had some things to say about De'Aaron Fox, and I'm telling you, I was just feeling good about De'Aaron Fox, and then Sam Amic said this. Let's talk about it on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Fox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Yeah, that's my girl. Dylan Scott, Country Till I Die Tour. That's my girl. Platinum selling artist Dylan Scott. With special guests Jackson Dean and Avery Anna. You just can't have mine. Thank God she loves me. God knows I got so lucky. Friday, January 10th, 7 p.m. The venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-881-4242, 800-881-4242.
You've heard the saying, penny wise, pound foolish, right? It means you do something that will save you a little bit right now, just pennies, but that ends up costing you pounds in the end. People put off tuning up their furnace because they don't want to take the time or spend the money to get it done. But it only takes 90 minutes and costs just $87, which is just pennies compared to the huge problems and expenses that can rack up if you don't get your furnace tuned up. You'll also save money on your energy bills, and your system will last longer. So don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Call Bell Brothers for a precision tune-up and professional cleaning today. Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
Frost Guys, Bell Brothers.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Man, oh man. Allen Stiles, Sacramento Sports. Taking you up to 2 p.m. We will be joined by the Sacramento Sports Insiders for a little bit of Roundtable. Brendan Nunez, Frankie Cardicelli. I think Frankie's here. We haven't got the news yet on Mini Frankie, so I'm pretty sure Frankie is here. He might have to leave during the Roundtable.
Oh, that would be awful. Imagine having to get that news while you're on the air with Allen Stiles and Kyle Ledbetter.
He's the birth of his child is coming, and I'm saying, okay, I got another trade for you. What about Nick Richards? You can't leave yet. You can't leave.
We're in the middle of Nick Richards' Charlotte Hornets conversation. I need to know, Frankie, is there a situation where Bradley Beal could be rerouted to the Hornets?
Yeah, and would you do it? By the way, this just got announced. Thanks for the update, Kyle. Amidst all of the tragedy with the fires in SoCal, in Southern California, the Charlotte Hornets and Los Angeles Lakers game has been postponed. So thank you for that information, Kyle. Again, of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone out there. I know a lot of us out here in Northern California have family, friends in Southern California, so be sure to check in with them if you haven't already, which I am sure you have. All right, as we discuss, Sam Amic, my guy, just this morning, had this to say when talking about De'Aaron Fox. And it is honestly, if you've been listening the last couple of days, thank you for listening. Appreciate it. Honestly, the exact opposite of how I have been feeling about De'Aaron Fox. Here it is.
I am still of the belief that the writing is on the wall, even more so after the firing than before. The tricky thing with De'Aaron and why this is going to be so interesting to watch unfold, seeing how the rest of the season goes, and then I don't expect him to get moved before the deadline, certainly. But is that his personality is such, he's not Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? He's not going to, kind of rampage during practice and go at his own teammates because he's unhappy. He's not going to, recruit the media to come to Sacramento and do a national television interview like Jimmy did back in the day with Rachel Nichols. If you guys remember that kind of incredible moment. That type of stuff is not going to happen. It's going to be just more professional. I think I might have said this on the show before. Somebody with the team recently described De'Aaron to me as a gentleman, meaning that like he's just going to handle himself in a certain type of way. But that doesn't change the fact that it, even with the 5-1 turnaround, like the tough part for the Kings and their fans, and the understandable part, in my opinion, for De'Aaron is that his aspirations are bigger. Like it's not, he said it openly multiple times. It's not just scraping into the playoffs. That is not what he wants to do in this league at this stage of his career. So really, unless they are able to show that they're a team capable of getting into the second round, maybe a conference finals by the end of this year, I personally don't think the calculus changes at all.
Did Sam just end that saying, a deep playoff run or the conference finals, nothing would change?
Well, he says, unless it's a trip to the second round of the playoffs, maybe a conference finals. I don't think the calculus changes. Not saying nothing would change. The calculation in his head doesn't change.
So essentially, how I'm hearing this from Sam Amic is there are a lot of ways to make a salad, right? And just because you have Jimmy, who we could call a Cobb salad, the way he's doing things, very loud, if you will, his agent making a stink. Then you have De'Aaron, which is maybe more like a Caesar salad, and not based on what the salads are, but De'Aaron's doing it a different way. And people like me thinking that his silence, or because it's not Jimmy, doesn't mean that he's any happier than Jimmy. And I've been taking it as, look how crazy this Jimmy thing is. This must mean that De'Aaron's cool and De'Aaron isn't as far gone. Now, I don't think De'Aaron is as far gone, but Sam Amic is essentially saying them getting to the play-in, unless they go on some Lakers a couple years ago run into the Western Conference Finals, isn't going to change anything. So to me, that's not good because I still don't, and look, maybe a Cam Johnson move does change things, but I still don't necessarily see them. I mean, conference finals, I don't see that. Even though the Mavs did go to the finals as a 5 seed, I could see second round, but we have people clamoring and excited that they could be the 9 or 10 seed with the Warriors loss. So the expectations from De'Aaron Fox, if they haven't changed, and again, spotted with Mike Brown yesterday or last night, having a nice meal. If nothing has changed and De'Aaron is thinking, I don't really care that we're in a tougher spot because you decided to fire the coach, that does worry me more than I was. And maybe I was a bit of a simpleton to see a 5-game winning streak and think everything is all good. But if what Sam Amic is saying, and I love Sam, if what he is saying is, second round or conference finals, that's the only thing that's going to change De'Aaron's mind. That's not a good sign at all. At all.
So to the part that Sam talked about De'Aaron being a gentleman and De'Aaron not going to invite Rachel Nichols to Sacramento to do a national interview like Jimmy Butler did, which is still an incredible story. Just a truly incredible thing that happened. Jeff Teague's story about it is maybe one of the greatest basketball stories ever. But to the point, player empowerment doesn't always have to look like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant forcing their way out of Brooklyn or James Harden or this Jimmy Butler situation right now. It's a way to do it, and very often the player gets exactly what they want by being willing to make it ugly. But in this situation, it can be as simple as we get to July, De'Aaron says, hey, I don't want to sign my contract extension right now. I'd want to play out this next season. The Kings maybe say, we can't risk losing you for nothing, so we're going to look at trade options. Can you give us some teams? De'Aaron throws out, I want to go to team A, team B, team C, team D. And then the Kings go back and say, we'll see what we can do. And then by training camp, they'll probably have a solution worked out. It doesn't have to be toxic and player empowerment going
No.
not the way you think it is.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily talking about how De'Aaron's doing it. I'm talking more so about what Sam Amic is saying as far as changing De'Aaron's mind or swaying De'Aaron. If the swaying of De'Aaron is not going to come from even going back to the first round, which I do think is kind of crazy since they've only been to the playoffs once. So personally, I know, Sam is, speaking on sourced opinion. I honestly feel like you could convince De'Aaron to stay if you get back to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to win and get to the second round. This is just my personal opinion. I think if De'Aaron tastes the playoffs again and they have a real shot at it, whether they make a move or not, I think that could be enough to keep him. I think missing the playoffs is the issue. Because the second round thing and the conference finals thing, to me, that is why I was worried when this whole thing came out, because everything was so broad. Yeah. And it was, you just need to be better. And it was, well, what exactly does that mean, De'Aaron? And nobody actually knows. Sam is giving his educated guess. I'm giving my educated guess. And ultimately, De'Aaron might not even know, to be completely honest. It might just be a feeling. Maybe De'Aaron right now thinks, oh, no, we need to go to the second round of conference finals. But then the first round comes. He remembers how it was. It was a couple years ago now. He remembers how it was to be in the playoffs. They lose in 6, right? Or they lose in 7, a really hard-fought series. There are a couple tweaks that they can make. And De'Aaron feels like, you know what? Let's just keep rocking and rolling. My family loves it here. Let's keep doing it. I think that's possible. But I still think it's a wild shot to get to the playoffs. That's my problem.
Yeah, and the results of this season, to your point, are only part of the equation, right? Mm-hmm. They're not just pitching De'Aaron on past results. They're pitching him on the vision for the future. Mm-hmm. What do the next 4 years look like? What do the next 5 years look like? What do you guys plan to do to build to whatever objective is being a champion or contending for a championship? And I think that might be more important than how this season ends. But this season is certainly part of the picture, because if you go 2 seasons without making the playoffs when we all agree this was a playoff caliber team, and you're hiring potentially a new head coach, I don't know what that does for you.
Yeah, and ultimately, the problem is the timing. So this season means so much because of De'Aaron and the extension. So the Kings are just running out of time, and every day that Monty doesn't make a move is, again, me asking the question, how badly do they want to keep De'Aaron Fox? Are they trying to get ahead of this? Now, do I agree with that? No, but I'm not the GM of the team, and if they value future first rounders and a Keegan Murray or a Devin Carter more than holding on to De'Aaron Fox, that's their prerogative, whether we agree with it or not. And we're going to find out in these coming days. All right, we're going to find out what Brendan Nunez and Frankie Cardicelli have to say about all this when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for 3, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
The new year is upon us with promises of new beginnings and new adventures, but don't let 2024 slip away without savoring the memories made with family and friends. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Looking forward is always exciting, but I have a lot to appreciate in this past year, revolving around time with family and more good time spent around my Naturewood dining table. Watching my grandson with his first bite of birthday cake was priceless and reminds me that new life is the perfect balance between yesterday and today. Greet the new year with a visit to Naturewood Home Furnishings during their annual New Year sale going on now, including all the fine furniture and accessories in every department. How about a new style for the new year? Find that perfect piece of furniture that's new today and filled with future memories for tomorrow. The memories you make with your family will stay with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shampoo, Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional detail.
Hey, it's time to open up your calendar app for some incredible live events coming your way. This is the Sacktown Sports Live Events Calendar, bringing you the hottest shows in town. Kick off 2025 with country superstars Dylan Scott and Jackson Dean. They're hitting the stage at Thunder Valley on January 10th for a night of hot country hits. Then on January 11th, laugh until your sides hurt with comedy legend Bill Engvall. He's performing live at Thunder Valley, a show you won't want to miss. And the one and only Justin Timberlake is bringing a electrifying energy to the Golden One Center on January 15th. This is your chance to see an icon in action. For a more intimate vibe, catch Bryce Vine at Ace of Spades on January 25th. It'll be an unforgettable night of alternative hip-hop. And finally, looking ahead to February 20th, Old 60 lights up Ace of Spades with their unique blend of rock and soul. Get your tickets now because these shows will sell out fast. For details and updates, visit sacktownsports.com. And stay tuned. This is your ticket to the best live entertainment in the 916, the Sacktown Sports live events calendar. Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Your flagship station for the Bean Team, Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, Kings Insiders join us. Frankie Carticelli and Brendan Nunez. Brendan's running around. He'll be back. Brendan rocking a bunch of Ken Griffey Jr. gear. I think he's trying to get on my good side, so I don't know what that's all about. As we take you up to 2 p.m., there's Brendan right here. Brendan, I was saying you're trying to butter me up with all your Ken Griffey Jr. gear on. And Kyle has a Mariners hat on. Am I missing something?
I know, me and Brendan are twinning.
What?
Did I miss something here?
Lack of Yankee stuff is notable.
No one's talking.
But not for Doug Christie.
There you go. See, when we bring up the Yankees, you say, "Hey, don't talk about the Yankees." And then when we don't talk about the Yankees, you're like, "Why aren't you talking about the Yankees?"
We bring the ball.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what we do.
Uncalled for.
I went to Costco this past Sunday. I got 2 chicken bakes and a chocolate.
Did you eat them in one sitting?
No, I didn't.
Do you know how big those things are? Like,
no, I didn't. I actually had the second one yesterday, but Baby Styles was really feeling the chicken bake.
They're delicious.
She was housing the chicken bake.
They're honestly like a cheat code. They're so good, man.
There you go. Hey,
we bring the boom.
Yes, you do. And Frank, you might have to leave at some point.
That's what we do.
Maybe. It seems like every single time I see somebody, they're just like, "You're still here?"
Yeah,
we're still waiting.
We're
still waiting. But we have an appointment tomorrow that will hopefully should provide some clarity. But little baby Frank coming any day. So.
Yeah, just comfortable. Just hanging out. Paying rent. Not yet, but soon.
Very soon.
There you go.
I'm sure you're very accustomed to it. You've been not threatening. I guess you've been kind of threatening me for a long time about what's coming. So.
Yeah, and Baby Styles she was a week late, so it can get squirrely.
Our former boss Joe Giroux said the same thing about his son, and that is a horrifying thought because my wife is very much done with being pregnant. She's very over it. So
there you go.
Looking forward to taking care of a kid for the next forever.
Yeah. No, they don't go forever.
For forever.
For the next forever. Well, we hope this win streak for the Kings, we hope this lasts forever, guys, but it's going to be tough against the Boston Celtics. Real quick, not to get too much in the weeds on the matchup because it is just one game, but I do find it to be somewhat of a measuring stick. You don't get to play these teams very often, and it's going to be a crazy run for the Kings. I got to do some more homework on how the Bucks have been playing, but I know the Bulls, you truly don't know what you're going to get. So you get the Celtics, Bulls, and Bucks. As far as the matchups with the Celtics, we saw some numbers yesterday from Basketball Index that basically showed that the Kings have been, for lack of a better term, hiding DeMar DeRozan on defense. And the way I'm looking at it is if Al Horford is going to start tomorrow, even if De'Aaron plays, it's got to be a DeMar DeRozan cook fest, but we've seen DeMar DeRozan cook and keep other players involved. It's when things happen quickly, right? Don't hold the ball for too long. Guys get cold. Just make decisions quickly. Keep everybody moving. How are you feeling about the matchup with the Celtics tomorrow night?
Oh, you're setting me up here.
Why am I setting you up?
Because how is this ever going to be a good matchup for the Kings?
Yeah.
To be honest. They are.
I mean, you could find ways.
I like your DeMar on Al Horford thing. That makes a lot of sense.
And then they'll just sit Al Horford and bring in another 6'9".
Yeah, something like that. I think that you can probably go Keegan Murray on Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're doing with Jaylen Brown, or if you put Keegan on Jaylen, what you're doing with Jason. Like one of the two is what's your starting lineup going to be? Assuming De'Aaron Fox is there.
Yes, and that is a good question because we've been having conversations. I had this for a later segment, but it kind of rolls right into it. We've been having conversations about the starting lineup. So is there a world where a starting lineup can be more dynamic, where it's tomorrow night, Keon kind of makes more sense than Malik Monk because Keon can probably do a better job, especially when they switch everything. I mean, the Kings won that game, but it wasn't Austin Reeves bad, but they were getting Malik on Tyler Hero to end possession every possession in overtime. And Malik, he held his own, but Jaylen Brown's a different beast. Jason Tatum's a different beast. Is there an argument that this starting lineup should be more dynamic and Malik can be the starter in certain situations, but a day like tomorrow night, Keon actually makes more sense? Or down the line, Devin Carter might make more sense. Is that a crazy statement?
I mean, thinking about it, I don't really know many teams that shift starting lineups.
They don't.
Kind of go back and forth.
I think the Warriors do.
And Minnesota did a little bit with Naz Reid, but more so because of injuries at that point. But I mean, the Warriors maybe have a little bit. I wonder why you would know something like that, Allen. You should be kind of locked into Kings games more than Warriors games, but
they weren't playing. Okay.
But no, I do get the thought process.
Sorry, I was looking at the sack chat. Somebody said they saw me at Costco on Sunday.
Just housing
chicken fisting some chicken bags.
At Costco in the Thomas. Yep, that was me.
It's like I knew it was you. Interesting conversation though. I mean, I personally don't really think so. I think that Doug and his staff will probably get together and probably meet with the players as well and kind of develop what that rotation is going to look like. I do feel like, I mean, I talked about it with Dave and Jason yesterday. I feel like if we're talking about balancing the roster out, and it might be an unpopular decision for some, there's really not a universal correct answer. I feel like Malik's just kind of more valuable back in that bench role. I think what Keon can provide you in that starting lineup with that starting group, it's not the same comparison.
No, I agree.
But you would make this move before they lose? You would do it tomorrow night?
I mean, it's getting healthy. It doesn't have to do with like the win streak.
But Malik was starting while they were healthy.
So does that mean you're taking De'Aaron off the bench?
You just talked about how you're concerned about.
They won games with De'Aaron when Keegan wasn't playing.
We just talked about how concerning it is the matchups, and now your first thought is to have your worst defensive player off the floor at the start of the game to put yourself in.
I'm just saying. I understand the matchup, but it's a winning streak. It would take some you know what to do that. And Doug's got him.
Keon has started multiple games with that winning streak as well. So is Malik. I get
it. So give me your starting lineup.
I mean, it's Fox, Keon, Keegan, DeRozan, Sabonis.
I would say the same thing. And like maybe vary DeMar to the bench instead of Malik if you want to entertain that conversation. I see why that's difficult.
All right, legend of winning.
Well, here's the thing. I think one of the biggest things about that whole Malik starting situation, a lot of it was involving Mike Brown. And I'm not sitting here and saying, Mike Brown was the reason why Malik, and Malik wasn't happy because of it, but Malik was pretty outspoken that he wanted to start. But he wouldn't push to start unless things went wrong. Right. And he didn't start to begin the season.
And they stunk.
The Kings were, the wins were sporadic, and it's worked out. Now they're at a point where things are really working, and the numbers speak for themselves with Keon on the floor. I mean, I don't know what his net rating is off the top of my head, but the team is, I think, double digits points better when he's on the floor.
Their best net rating is with Keon on the floor, and Domas is right behind him. But it's a big difference. I don't have all the lineup numbers in front of me.
So how does this conversation go? How does this conversation go with Malik?
It shows
both of you play Doug Christie right now. You go first, Brendan.
I'm Doug Christie talking to Malik here.
You're Doug Christie.
First of all, I love you.
Yeah, first of all, I believe in you.
I love you. I believe in you. I think you could be a star in this league, Malik. But what's best for this group, Manu Ginobili was better than Bruce Bowen.
Is Mike Brown?
Yeah. I might be going a little
Frankie,
Mike Brown.
Your turn.
No, I say the same thing. It's like, this is about winning. This is bigger than the name on the back, which is the corny thing to say, but that's something Doug would say, by the way.
It is.
Name on the front.
The city will love you for this.
And it's not. I don't even look at it as a sacrifice. Malik Monk can put himself back in Sixth Man of the Year. That conversation.
You can play the same minutes.
You can
play the same. It's not cooked. It's not cooked.
It is cooked.
If Naz Reid won it last year, it definitely is not cooked.
Peyton Pritchard, it says it's cooked.
Oh, that's where we're going. Okay, who's guarding Peyton Pritchard?
By the way, neither of you convinced me.
Buddy Hield said it's not over.
Well, yeah. Neither of you convinced me, by the way.
Okay, well then you tell us.
I disagree. They did pretty good, Doug Christie.
Give me your reasoning why you think Keon should come off the bench.
Keon should come off the bench because Malik Monk and what he brings offensively and what we've seen, the games where they were losing, okay? Malik Monk was still doing his thing. They were blowing it in certain spots. They weren't blowing it because Malik was starting the game. I mean, the Jaden Ivey thing, the Denver Nuggets thing, if you want to have a different conversation. So let's go this way. If Malik can't start, then why should he close either? Because I'm more okay just from a lack of a better term, drama perspective. I'm more okay with kind of what Mike Brown did with the quiet benching and the quiet quitting, where you just don't see Kevin Huerter again. You don't know where he went. So maybe if you want to close,
there is such a thing as reading and reacting as a coach, not just a player, to what is happening in front of you. And if you're starting one of those players and one of them is giving you more down the final stretch, that's who's closing.
But that's what I'm okay with.
But then why isn't the same way for starting?
Because you know all of the politics that comes with starting. I don't want to have that conversation with, you know what this is? You're just finally in a stable environment, right?
Are
you're in a yes. Yes, you are.
You just fired your coach like a week and a half ago.
You're on a 5-game winning streak.
A 25-point loss to Boston.
Let's not. Okay, no. Hold on now. Domantas Sabonis. Okay, what if Domantas Sabonis get asked? Even while Mike Brown was still the coach, what did he say when the Malik Monk thing came up? What did he say? About time.
About time.
So now you want the team is part of this too, guys.
For sure. I think that's the most complicated aspect, and why I thought when Mike started Malik, like that might be a button that you press and you can never undo.
Yeah.
And that is still part of the conversation. But I think that we're almost like talking separate of that. You know, assuming Malik is okay with it, which I think based on his previous actions, we have seen that he is.
Now, people like you got to ask Malik, how does it feel to get benched again?
Well, you know,
I'm not asking that question.
Somebody's
going to ask it.
But he is, from his mouth, he has said he will do what he needs to do to help the team win.
Yeah.
And the team was not winning. That's what warranted that change. And to your point, I get it. They have been, the success, a large part has been Malik Monk. He has been great in a starting role.
Mm-hmm.
But about maximizing everyone's value, I don't think you can get the most out of Keon in a bench role that you can with him in that starting group at the beginning of games.
Keon has a lot of offensive weaknesses, and I do think that those get covered up when you put him around four other great offensive players, and however you want to classify Keegan, but four other guys that make the game really simple for him. And I think Malik Monk is best with the ball in his hands. And I think that you see that more when he's not on the floor next to DeMar DeRozan.
I feel like I'm having flashbacks
Fox.
of last season. I cannot believe.
That's because it's the same team. Kyle. Oh man,
which Kyle?
Yeah, that was an accident.
If it's Draper, you're gonna get in trouble here.
My bad.
All right,
don't answer that question.
Let's get to break. Some fireworks already happening in here with the Sacktown Sports Kings insiders. Brendan's forgetting who he's even talking to. That's how much is going on right now. When we return, did the guys hear the Sam Amic sound? I'm sure they did. How do they feel about De'Aaron Fox? Do they want to bench him too? Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Intercepted by Fred Warner.
Faithful to the Bay.
Fred gets up and runs back the other way, 30.
Don't miss the excitement of 49ers game day. Secure your spot at Levi's Stadium for the 2025 season.
20, one block and he's in.
Season tickets are available now. Inventory is limited, so to speak with a representative, call 415-GO-49ers.
Touchdown!
That's 415-GO-49ers.
San Francisco!
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports. Waiting for it to drop. There we go.
Ooh.
Sacktown Sports Kings Insiders joining us. Frankie Cardicelli, Brendan Nunez. Ridiculously hot first segment. We had Doug Christie impersonations. We had starting lineup conversations. And now it's going to stay hot on a Wasabi Thursday as we talk about
We
what's...
bring the boom. That's what we do. It's a jump scare at this point.
As we discuss what Sam Amic had to say on the morning show just a couple hours ago. You can check that out on YouTube during one of the breaks, of course. And Sam Amic, guys, essentially saying that he feels like the writing is on the wall. And everybody saw that picture with De'Aaron and Mike Brown just last night. Dave posted it. A bunch of people posted it. They were having dinner or something of the sort. So, are they still talking? Whatever the case may be, the Kings on a 5-game winning streak. De'Aaron hasn't played the last couple games with that hip contusion because of Triple J on the Grizzlies. And you have a situation where I felt better. I've been on these airwaves saying I felt better. Maybe I was a little short-sighted, just thinking that 5-game winning streak, the vibes are great. He's taking people up to the beat. He's taking the team up to the beam. Doug Christie is. This is awesome. And then Sam Amic says, I actually think it's going in the other direction. Not because of the winning streak, but he says, I actually think it's the writing is on the wall because of moving on from Mike Brown. Then we see a picture with De'Aaron and Mike Brown just last night. And then he ends the statement saying, essentially barring a second round visit, or dare I say a conference final, he doesn't think De'Aaron's mind will change. That really sobered me up a bit. I'll put it to you like that. What did you guys think?
I don't think it was super surprising to me. I think that's kind of already where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron made it pretty clear during the whole firing and the process afterwards, getting interviewed, the blunt statement of nothing's changed about what he said in the offseason of wanting continuity with this team, or they knew where I stood this offseason. And we know that he advocated for Mike Brown to eventually get that extension, which was not the smoothest process in the first place. So I don't think it's the most surprising. I do think we are somewhat dealing with the same situation that we were, though, when Mike Brown was here. It's still, this roster still has a chance to prove to De'Aaron, I think, that he should stick around, that they are trending in the right direction, but that was never going to be an easy thing to do, I don't think, with this current construction. And I think that's still the point that we're at. I think we were still, when Mike Brown was here, it was the same thing. Are you going to get to the second round? Is this going to feel like continual positive progress and that they are on an upward trajectory? I think is probably what De'Aaron wants to see. He wants to eventually be able to compete for championships. And this next contract's really going to be like the majority of his prime, probably his last big contract, not guaranteed, but more likely than not. So I don't think it changes too much. I think it probably makes De'Aaron a little like, this team is still being very impulsive and reactionary to these slight things. There's not that sense of continuity, obviously, that he said he appreciated before. So not too surprising. I think for the most part, it's where we were already at when Mike was here, to be honest. I just don't know. Maybe he needs a little bit more even now under Doug, but second round is still probably about the same difficulty.
Right.
Yeah, this is all still very fresh. I mean, this is what, December 27th this started happening, and they played the next day. They won their first game of the streak on December 30th. So, in short, the 5-game winning streak doesn't solve everything. I mean, there's still a whole another, half and plus of the season to go. So I think that the early returns on the decision from a basketball standpoint have been positive, obviously. I mean, winning solves everything. I think for Fox's situation, that also could ring true. If the Kings really do go on a run here, and the Western Conference is besides the first maybe 1-2 spots, it's wide open. I think they're 3 games back of the 4 or 3 seed right now. So all things being said, a lot of damage was done, but the Kings have shown that this roster, while there are still holes at the forward spots and the backup center spot specifically, they're close. And maybe De'Aaron does get encouraged by the fact that a core of him, Sabonis, Keegan, and Monk is able to push them back into that playoff discussion. And maybe if they do make a move, get a Cam Johnson or go get someone else, kind of a head-turning move, and you kind of beef up the roster for not just the end of this year, but into next year as well. Maybe that kind of, lowers some of the tension and kind of, when they come back to the table this summer, have a clearer conversation. But I do think that nothing has changed, like Brendan said, as far as they need to prove it this year. And the good news is they turned it around enough to not just bury themselves as early, but put themselves right back into the mix of the postseason race. And, a good road trip here, they can come back home, have another 3-game homestand where they've been playing very well. We could be looking at a team that's not just above 500, but maybe running towards the playoffs coming into the trade deadline.
Yeah, I'm looking here real quick. The Kings are 2 games back of the 7 seed and 3 games back of the 5 seed. That's insane.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, the state of the West, it's volatile right now. The Kings are right in the mix. Phoenix has taken a nosedive. Look at the drastic difference between first half and second half for Golden State. You could say the same for Milwaukee. There's a handful of examples in the league. The 2 other things I'll add about De'Aaron is I think that the fact that Sacramento, that the organization itself has not had a press conference, I think affects the players maybe more than anybody. There is a sense of accountability where I think the front office needs to speak on their decision, but De'Aaron was left to answer a lot of the questions and take a lot of the crap for it.
Yeah.
And the whole narrative ended up being De'Aaron wanted this guy fired.
Right.
And he made it very clear in his statements, whether that's, through different methods, saying that this was not on me. And I would bet that he probably didn't appreciate the way that all that has been handled, which I think factors in. And the one other thing I'll say is I have heard that he does really like Doug Christie, though. As much as he did like Mike Brown, there is a level of De'Aaron likes Doug. And so not to say that couldn't be, a correct path moving forward for him. But again, like we said, I think things need to be proven before then.
I mean, if the front office comes out and says something, you don't have idiots.
It's too late now, though. De'Aaron already had to deal with all that.
Well, yeah, you don't have idiots like Allen Stiles saying, "Hey, was that a smirk?" Or what did he say after sleep? I mean, it's a great point. I haven't really talked about it too much on this show because I don't know how much fans care about it. When there was Podium Gate last season, and a lot of us were saying, "Why is Keon Ellis and guys that are barely playing talking? What did we see from fans? They don't owe you anything. Shut up, blah, 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 blah," all this stuff. So I kind of feel like fans might not care that much about it, but they should care about it, to your point, Brendan, because if the basketball world cares about it, the NBA as a business, they care about it. That is a bad look, okay? It's a bad look from the standpoint of Mike brought you from the depths of where. And that you went on this run, your evaluation is higher than it's ever been, and you do him dirty like this, you don't even come out to answer the questions. Now, Kings fans, they're going to rock with the Kings no matter what, and that's kind of how I've reacted to it. But to your point, De'Aaron, to your point, Brendan.
I'm Doug.
Yeah, you are Doug. Yeah, and we have Doug, too, over here.
And you're Kyle.
And I'm Kyle. Yeah, that's also true. To your point, Brendan, it's not really about how fans feel about it. It's about how De'Aaron feels about it. And if De'Aaron thinks that, and Sam Amic said the same thing, this is a bad look. This is not how you do business. It's not how you treat people. I do think it's a big deal, and it's something that I hadn't really thought about as far as how De'Aaron views how you're moving. Are you moving like an organization? The dude came from Kentucky when Kentucky was at its height. Are you moving like an elite organization? Are you moving like a machine that is well oiled? And the Kings, they haven't. They just haven't. That's the reality.
And the team that he was linked to the strongest is the San Antonio Spurs, who maybe have the most consistent culture.
Yes.
Which I think again speaks to he values that, and obviously this year is not the only example. De'Aaron's been through a decent amount of turmoil in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess the main thing here is what will give the idea that that's going to change going forward. Right. I mean, if the Kings do finish with 45, 46 wins and they make the second round, is that enough in your opinion to sign for the majority of your prime? I mean, I don't know. Again, money talks. I mean, if he's putting himself in position for a supermax, which right now, I mean, he's among the league leaders in points per game. I mean, he from a individual standpoint, he's been playing well
in the conversation.
Yeah, but it all depends on team results. Like they're not going to put a 40-win Kings team. They're not going to put him in first team All NBA or second team, whatever down the line. But I think that kind of adds to the element of everything. And so one of the comments is even saying they want to focus on the season, and that's really I think for everybody, all parties involved, the Kings, Fox, everybody. you really have to take one thing at a time. Like, you have to focus on this year first and foremost, and, you know, without getting too much in the weeds. And we don't know what's going on fully behind the scenes. If the Kings would move off of Fox at the deadline, if there was a Godfather type offer, I would guess unlikely. I would get, bring the trade machine out.
I'm not. I don't want to move off.
It's not time yet.
You got a smirk right when you said that.
Well, I just like the trade machine.
You just like those words.
That's right.
But I mean, in your words as well, they're getting cooking at just the right time.
Yeah.
Things were at, you know, rock bottom. Fox, even going out for a couple of games, the Kings in past years would just fall over flat. They come back and beat a couple of decent teams. And Miami is also in disarray right now, but in the manner they came back, 17 down, double overtime. So one thing at a time. Is there too much damage under this relationship? I don't know, maybe, but I'll continue to say it. Winning solves everything. If the Kings continue to win and make a good move at the deadline, it's only going to help your case. And then you go from there in the summer.
Being a good enough team to have him make all NBA and get that Supermax is probably the strongest chance of keeping De'Aaron. I think just logically that makes sense.
And that's what we thought going into the season. Right. And then things just went a little bit squirrely. Get the bag. That's what he told Malik Monk. Speaking of what's realistic for the Kings, let's talk about it. Is the conference finals, or are the conference finals realistic? Let's talk about it. Down south, Sacktown Sports.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Team night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message or data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text PIVOT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text PIVOT to 42424. That's PIVOT to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
There's no better time than now to get yourself into a brand new Jeep because it's Jeep Adventure Days at Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, offering the best deals in town and a selection other dealers are jealous of. Stop on by. They're just off of Business 80 across from Hagen Oaks Golf Complex. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This year, resolve to save on the all-new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy with $8,000 off MSRP after rebates on over 30 new half-ton Silverado LT and RST. After rebates, and Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, leases, and other offers. Must own 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
California's largest Sportsman's Expo is back, January 16th at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Bring the family and discover your next adventure. Don't miss more than 100 free fishing, hunting, casting, kayaking, and dog training seminars. On the weekend, take the kids to a building filled with free activities. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, January 16th through 19th at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Start the year strong at InShape Fitness. Play basketball, try yoga or Pilates, or work with their personal trainers to create a happy new you. And look for Sacktown Sports Team before the next Kings game to grab your free Kings InShape Rally Towel. Join today at InShape.com. We are in shape. You are ready.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Young, wild, and free. That's how the Kings have been playing, and we hope that continues. Allen Stiles here with Frankie Cardicelli and Brendan Nunez, our Sacktown Sports Kings insiders, doing a great job for us. Guys, give us a little look into the Kings' schedule. So, when did they take off? Did they already take off?
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they took off after practice.
Yeah.
Which, to my understanding, is kind of the new way of Doug Christie, how he handles things. They wanted to get to Boston with enough time to kind of have some downtime and I don't think,
nice meal.
Sure, some chowder.
Yeah,
I don't know essentially to have a practice, but I mean, I think we've talked about it a lot with Mike. I mean, 100% they're practicing probably the minute they get there, or maybe at least yesterday.
You think they're practicing less
Today.
under Doug Christie?
Guaranteed. That's probably one of the biggest differences outside of just like messaging under Doug. The biggest difference has to be how much they're practicing, for sure.
So there was this whole thing, and this is what's so funny. And as the old saying goes, true words can be spoken in a joke. And this whole thing about Malik Monk he's the most outspoken person when it comes to this, or it seems like he was. You guys have been there, at all the practices, when he would joke about practices going long, when they would joke about how many practices they had. It seemed like Mike Brown was almost a diet Tom Thibodeau in a way in a lot of these situations. The things or the whispers that we heard about the amount of time they were practicing, do you think some of that was leaking in? Because most fans just sit and watch the game. And we watch the pregame and we watch the postgame. We see what these guys say. We hear the game plan. We hear this, we hear that. So then when this locker room stuff came up, and every time they speak, it's simplifying. Okay, I didn't realize that it was viewed as complicated. And just, some of the playing together stuff, that whole practicing thing, was there more to that than maybe we all initially thought?
I would definitely say so. I don't think Malik's comments specifically, though, I will say. I think that to your point of like there's some truth in jokes sometimes. Not that Malik didn't notice it and maybe have some feelings, but I don't think that necessarily means he minded it. I think if you were really frustrated with it, you're probably not saying anything from his perspective, especially like with cameras in your face and everything. Yeah. I think they had a good relationship. I would say that, there's been stuff about like how much Domas may appreciate the practicing. He gets beat up all the time.
And then
plays
you got to practice.
Super physical game.
Yeah.
And even just the differences in under Luke Walton, it was walkthroughs instead of shoot-arounds, of we're not really going to go through everything here. Let's just walk through everything we got going on. Or having some of these Doug Christie practices be a little bit more optional, and things like that. So there's some fundamental differences there, but like heard things about Domas. DeMar DeRozan is, I'm forgetting how old off the top of my
35.
mind, but yeah, there's a lot of older teams in the NBA that hardly practice at all because of some things like that. So I think there definitely was an aspect of maybe some guys not loving how much they practiced, but I think that's a lot easier to be like, all right, I get why we're doing it when you win 48 games and you break the streak that, and Mike is trying to change a culture of an organization. I think the players were behind that. So I think it's one of those, like, even more so in hindsight, guys are appreciative that now it's toned down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, from that standpoint, it sounds like fatigue, really. Just maybe not fatigue as far as the guys are like completely, depleted and tired, but I think it's over time you get kind of worn down and you kind of go, man, I could use a couple of days off in a row. Like, there's like this week, they had 3 days off during the week. And, I think pretty rare over the past few years, they get multiple off days, but this week they did. And obviously get a travel day in there as well. But, Mike comes from a different school of thought. We talked about it on our podcast that, he comes from the coaching tree of Greg Popovich. And I think he was with Larry Brown in Detroit for a little bit.
And we can get the podcast. You're talking about Return of the Roar.
Yes.
And that's on YouTube. Check that out. Sacktown Sports, 1140 YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast.
Wow. That was
really nice.
What a guy.
There you go. Continue, Frank.
No, but really, I think I think that it does the guys a little bit of good to have some time off your feet. And like Brendan mentioned, a lot of guys like Domas at the top of the list dealing with some physical things, and Keegan with his ankle, and he had to miss some games, which he said that benefited him greatly, and also missing out on some practice as well. So I do think that kind of shaking things up from that perspective has maybe rejuvenated the guys a little bit. But I think that Mike still wasn't in the right frame of mind to have the guys practice a lot, because like you mentioned, he was trying to shift the culture, trying to shift everything about an organization that's been at the bottom of the totem pole for years. So is it the right move to take a couple of days off here and there? Maybe, but it all depends on what's going on in the circumstances, and the winning helps. But
and I would say part of the circumstances this year that add to it is that you had multiple guys top 5 in minutes played. And when you're practicing that much with that combined, it's a little different.
Right. Something's got to give at some point. It reminds me, guys, because I know we all, even just going back to high school sports, it's after a winter break or after Easter break, summer, whatever it is, those practices are typically the hardest because, hey, you haven't been doing anything all summer long. Let's get you back in shape. But then once that evens out, you get back to some form of normalcy. It almost feels like Coach Mike Brown, he did the thing as if coming back from summer break. Summer break was the over a decade where you didn't make the playoffs. So then you wanted to break those habits. Then after you broke that, there wasn't another, maybe we can rework this. It's no, we're going to continue to do this. And maybe that wasn't fully necessary.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's definitely some noticeable differences. And I think that it's just person to person. There's variances with just styles. And Doug does feel, even though ironically these guys are playing against each other in college and they're not that far off age-wise, it just feels more modern and more catered to, the typical millennial, if you want to go in that direction of we're going to be free-flowing, we love each other. And so it's just, I think, a difference stylistically, really.
So we're going to get to the trade generator.
What?
No, in the last segment. I saved it for you as a surprise. But honestly, I don't
Jordan Poole.
That's right. I don't want to miss this, guys, and forget to ask you tomorrow night against the Celtics. What do you actually think happens?
Why are you asking that
question? I'm curious.
They're going to get smacked, Allen.
They're probably going to lose. And they're the best team in the league by a wide margin, in my opinion. I know that Cleveland and OKC what they've been doing is great. And Brendan, you have some deeply rooted Celtic blood.
Comment.
They are the best team in the NBA. They're on their home floor. We pulled up highlights on the podcast of the last time the Kings won a game there. There was no fans in attendance. It was right after COVID, right after the COVID season. I don't feel great about it from a matchup standpoint, but you know what? It's the NBA. Anything can happen on any given night. The Kings are playing a great brand of basketball right now. They're going to have possibly, we don't know about De'Aaron Fox fully yet. He was on the court yesterday going through a workout. It was a non-contact practice, so we don't know exactly to what extent he participated. The injury report should come out in about 3 hours.
So it's not for sure that De'Aaron is playing.
Not for sure. We haven't had any full confirmation. I'd say it's likely.
Yeah, I'd say there's good odds.
I mean, he was out there, and the amount of work he was putting in with Luke Laux, I mean, it looked like he was in a good state. But if that happens, they'll be fully healthy for the first time all year. That has not happened yet. So we'll see what it looks like, and a lot of rotation questions. And kind of like we talked about, how different does that rotation look, and does that affect the flow of everything? I mean, because I agree with you that they have been playing great with Malik in a starting role and also with Keon in a starting role. And I think that moving even one of them out is going to disrupt things a little bit, but it's going to happen. De'Aaron Fox is going to start. So very intrigued to see how that goes. And, I don't think it's a great matchup, but that doesn't mean they can surprise some people.
Well, the Kings have been the part of the good matchup and still found ways to lose that game. So maybe they can benefit from the other side.
They lost that Charlotte game last year. I still think about that. I have to pull up the line. Maybe we'll during the break. The Kings were fully healthy, and they played a Hornets team that was missing, I think, their entire starting five, except for PJ Washington, I think.
Yeah, that might have been the PJ game.
I'll pull it up.
The Celtics shoot like 50 plus threes, and the Kings are very bad at defending the three for most of this season. And the Kings don't shoot that many threes themselves relative to the rest of the league. It seems like Christie's trying to get them closer to that 40 per game number, while Mike Brown was hovering around 35 this year. The Kings have to hit a lot of their threes if they're going to be in this game, in my mind, or the Celtics go cold. But I think that you better hope that, guys like Keegan Murray, Kevin Huerter are hitting their threes. You're going to need like Trey Lyles to do something for you. I think that you got to have a really good night from three to keep up with this team.
What about running them off the line? They just won't do it, huh?
That's just not their scheme.
Yeah.
They protect the rim as a team because they don't have a typical rim protector. Obviously, Domas is not his strength. And so when you have all these guys on the weak side of the floor worried about protecting the rim, it's going to leave those threes open. It's just kind of what their scheme has been for a while, and it doesn't look changed under Doug.
One more segment with the guys. What moves do they want to make for your Sacramento Kings? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app. Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My good friends over at Jiffy Lube have an amazing New Year oil change special going on right now for the month of January. Get a full synthetic oil change starting at just $76.99 with a $33 off coupon online. That's right, starting at just $76.99 for a full synthetic motor oil change with a $33 off online coupon from JiffyLube.com today. Offer valid for up to 5 quarts of premium motor oil, specialty vehicles, and diesel extra. Happy New Year from Jiffy Lube.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. Then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? Changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. I've had my all-electric SUV for a little more than a year, and I continue to love it day after day. In fact, me and my daughter, we were just on vacation not too long ago, and we rented a car while we were on the trip, and my daughter said, Dad, I like your car better. I turned to her and said, honey, you know what? I like it better as well. And I couldn't wait to get back home to my Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV. You know, at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton, they are more than just a dealership. They're a partner you can trust throughout the entire ownership of your luxury vehicle. Whether it's a refined C-Class or versatile SUV lineup, your perfect Mercedes-Benz is there waiting for you. Plus, right now, you can enjoy 3.24% APR for up to 72 months on certified pre-owned models on approved credit. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is your trusted partner in luxury and reliability, and they've been doing it for more than 30 years. So head on down right now to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com.
Intercepted by Fred Warner.
Faithful to the Bay.
Fred gets up and runs back the other way, 30.
Don't miss the excitement of 49ers game day. Secure your spot at Levi's Stadium for the 2025 season.
20, one block and he's in.
Season tickets are available now. Inventory is limited, so to speak with a representative, call 415-GO-49ers.
Touchdown!
That's 415-GO-49ers.
San Francisco!
Hey, Sacramento Kings fans, join us for a watch party and live game night broadcast with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner at Tom's Watch Bar this Friday from 2:30 to 4:30 against Boston. Complete with 360-degree viewing, surround sound, prizes, and more. Tom's Watch Bar.
Your flagship station for the Bean Team, Sacktown Sports.
One more segment with the guys. Frankie and Brendan, Frankie Cardicelli, Brendan Nunez, talking about possible moves here. Guys, and I've been very honest on this show. I'm so tired of talking about Cam Johnson. I'm sick of it. And I'm the trade guy. I'm not saying I don't want the Kings to make a move, but
hold on. You're the trade guy from the standpoint of your trades are atrocious.
I'm tired of Cam Johnson. We need more Marquise Morris.
I'm just saying,
Pool party.
I'm just saying. You look, Valanciunas and Pool Party. Or Kyle Kuzma and Pool Parties.
Valanciunas would help the Kings. I don't think they need Jordan Poole if they have Malik Monk on this roster.
That's fair. See, I'm a fair guy.
Super fair guy.
I'm a fair guy. Speaking of the Wizards and how they don't know what they're doing. No. Jake Weinbach says if the Kings are unable to secure a deal for Cam Johnson, expect Sacramento to shift its focus to Old Faithful. Kyle Kuzma. The Kings are currently riding a 5-game win streak and are reportedly shopping a package of Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, and draft compensation to upgrade its wing depth. And I'm also tired about talking about Kyle Kuzma.
I mean, you better get used to hearing it because we're in the end game now. We have less than a month to go until the trade deadline, and I think there's a super high chance they do get a wing. I don't know if it's going to be Cam Johnson or Kuzma. Maybe it's someone we haven't heard of before, but I think they have to do something, and maybe it's predictable, maybe it's not, but the pressure's too there. It's so much pressure right now, and there's fire. I know there's a lot of smoke, and even Sam this morning, who's super plugged in, said that they're in like a million different directions trying to kind of open every door. And I don't think that your doors that you want to be open will necessarily
my doors.
Yes,
I don't have doors.
Jordan Poole,
no doors
for me. I just want this team to get better. And if you watch Jordan Poole cook, stop it.
It'd be it's very hard for me to believe you want the team to get better when I see the trades that you're showing us at the media dining room table.
Guys, Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, whatever deal for Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, that is a good deal.
What? Are you the same one that showed us the Jonas or the Zion Williamson for Domantas Sabonis trade?
No, don't do the Whitey. I didn't.
Okay.
That's
It wasn't Whitey. It wasn't Whitey.
No, I'm not saying Whitey, but Whitey will say stuff I did not say.
Okay.
You had some kind of Sabonis deal cooked up, and I think everyone was like, "That guy's crazy."
No, Sabonis untouchable to me.
No, I remember who it was now.
At the media room.
It was. I'll tell you later. I don't want to out him.
It's the classic No Moscow.
I'm getting outed.
No Moscow.
Why am I getting outed? I don't want to get outed.
Well, you never know. I mean, you're a good. If we can't remember who the crazy trade came from, it was probably Allen Stiles.
It's easy to go back to the source.
Okay, but seriously now.
Have you looked at what Kuzma's shooting from 3 this year?
No. I think the Wizards, they blew it. Okay? They should have moved Kuzma last season. This is why I do think Cam Johnson, with that ankle injury, I do think he gets moved. I know we're in a bit of a stalemate because of the hey, you don't want to give up Devin Carter, and the reports are it's what we did it yesterday. It was you could do Kevin Huerter, Devin Carter, and I think one more. Not Trey. You could keep Trey Lyles in this deal for Cam Johnson, or you do. I think it's Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, and two picks if you wanted to keep Kevin Huerter. Sounds like the Kings don't want to do either. But guys, if you're looking at the Nets have been pretty lucky here. You had Dennis Schroeder, who's completely turned into a pumpkin with the Warriors. He was balling out of control, right? Dorian Finney-Smith was shooting the 3-ball higher than he ever had in his career, and you have Cam Johnson balling out. They probably look at this, and they move 2 of their guys that they wanted to move. They probably look at Cam Johnson, and they say, do we want to be greedy and Cam cools off or isn't the same after the ankle? That's why, and you're looking at what happened with Kyle Kuzma on the Wizards. That's why I do think that he's going to get moved. It's just a matter of time. Well,
and it's about how much. And I think the rumor of 2 first-round picks or a first-round pick and a young player, like maybe they do want that, but I've long thought that that's not going to happen. Even Sam today said that he thinks that 1 unprotected first-round pick is probably going to be what gets it done for a team.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to kind of look at it and say who has the more valuable prospect there as far as like who's going to be in a better spot come draft time. And that might be where Brooklyn decides to go. And the scary thing to me is, kind of waiting in the weeds is OKC. They can literally get anyone they want right now. They have so many first-round picks. I think they have too many first-round picks, and they're allowed to even have for this upcoming draft. So they kind of have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at them as a team for maybe the prize of trade season, and they're not super like linked or involved, but we'll see what they can do with those picks. But the John Collins, Kyle Kuzmas of the world, the Kings will probably end up with someone of that caliber. They kind of have to, right?
Yeah, at least the John Collins. I know you're dealing with Danny Ainge, but at least the John Collins thing, most people believe he's a little bit overpaid. So maybe that deal isn't. You don't have to give up that much because you're gonna have to pay him, but you don't have to give up that much as far as asset wise outside of matching the money. Because all right, we know he's making a little bit more than he should, so here you go. I don't know if Danny Ainge would do that, but I don't think we're looking at any first rounders for John Collins because of how much he's getting paid.
Yeah, it's probably a couple seconds, but the Kings are obviously in a tough position with that, as we've talked about before. I think they have 2 seconds available to them.
Those went overseas with Sasha.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they're in a tough spot when it comes to what their flexibility can be. The Cam Johnson situation, it's what are they willing to give up, and are they going to get outpriced by somebody else? It makes sense for Brooklyn to obviously be selling off these guys a little bit earlier while they're trying to maintain, optimize their ping pong balls, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah.
But I think that if the Kings were, first of all, if they were willing to include Devin Carter in a deal, I think this would already be done.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that we're at that point. Maybe that will change. But 2 unprotected first, for example, like that's a whole lot for Cam Johnson. So if we are talking one, it's insane.
Even Kevin O'Connor, who covers the NBA and is never, doesn't typically speak very highly of the Sacramento Kings. He said he wouldn't move Devin Carter, and he said he would not do 2 firsts for Cam Johnson. He said he wouldn't move Devin Carter for Cam Johnson. Said he wouldn't do 2 firsts for Cam Johnson.
Yeah, I think it's a little too much, but the Kings are also in a tough spot. Everything we talked about with De'Aaron, maybe they're just ready to move on when it comes to this offseason. But if you're in a desperate spot kind of right now, and obviously you never want your back against the wall. You never want to be trying to make moves from a position of weakness, but that's kind of the reality of where they're at right now.
Some quick hitters, guys, before we get you out of here. Thanks for the time. Devin Carter, what you've seen from him so far, I know there's not enough time to break that down, but do you feel now it could be based on the player, of course, but a lot of people, they've seen enough to say that we can't move Devin Carter. And I don't want to be a hater, but I don't feel that yet. I don't feel like you can't move Devin Carter yet. But again, I want De'Aaron Fox to stay, so maybe that's part of it.
I mean, just seeing how the league's unfolded, really, I don't think there should really be anyone that's super untouchable. Not to quote George Karl,
yeah,
but like there really shouldn't be anyone that's all the way untouchable if the deal is right. And Devin Carter is someone who definitely has a lot of promise, but if there is a kind of deal out there, and I'm not going to say Cam Johnson's the one, to me, it's not quite Cam Johnson in a first. That'd be kind of steep in my opinion.
Yeah.
But maybe there's another player that we don't know about that is available and that's being discussed. And it's someone that's kind of, more of a, not quite all-star player, but near all-star type player. Maybe a little above Cam Johnson, but I don't know, man. I'm not really ready to say that a player who's played 3 games is untouchable.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who it could be. Even like the Pistons aren't giving up Cade Cunningham right now, but like if a Cade became available, for example, then sure, like Devin's not untouchable. I think Devin's far from the untouchable label. I agree with Frank. I don't think anybody on the roster is untouchable, including De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk. But it's the right deal. And I think that Cam is not a good enough player probably to just move on from your lottery pick that a lot of guys thought were probably going to be a top 5 guy. He slipped a lot because of the injury. My understanding, I think that he may have had a promise a little bit earlier in the lottery and that the teams afterwards maybe didn't get the proper research on his injury, so fell a little bit more. There's a good reason for optimism with him and his future, I think. So not untouchable, especially coming from a front office that traded Tyrese Halliburton when he looked probably closer to that than Devin Carter obviously ever has up to this point, playing 3 games in his career. But it'd have to be the right guy, and I don't think Cam is that guy.
Real quick, I know we're up against it, but I just remembered, if I'm not mistaken, OKC, this guy tore his ACL, but if they wanted to make that Cam Johnson move, what is it, Nikola Topic?
Topic, what are we talking about?
He just got drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, to OKC.
Yeah.
Well, he could be moved to the Nets. Could take him. I mean, he's a rookie who hasn't played.
Oh yes,
yeah, Nikola Topic.
Totally forgot that he's on OKC.
Right,
too.
and
he
he's
was
like
picked
6
ahead of Devin Carter.
Yes, 6'8", 6'9" type guy.
OKC can get whoever they want.
Yeah, and he has not played a game yet. The Nets could like what they saw.
I think interesting.
He did. He definitely looked interesting. All right, guys, we got about 30 seconds here. How do the Kings fare on this 3-game road trip?
I mean, easy answer, I guess, is 2-1, or the hopeful answer is 2-1. But
somebody do it.
That means you got to beat one of Boston or Milwaukee. But I mean, I'm looking at Milwaukee, a team that should be beatable, and I'm thinking that Chicago should hopefully go in the Kings' favor. So I'm looking at 2-1.
Chris Middleton just got moved to the Pine, like you guys want to do with Malik Monk. Brendan, what were you going to say?
1-2. I'm a little worried about 0-3 though. Chicago has their okay moments. Levine could totally get rolling. Lonzo's the type of guy that could pick you apart. He's been playing again recently. CP3 absolutely tore them apart. Cade Cunningham tore their defense apart, so a little worried, but I'd probably say 1-2 with that Chicago game.
I'm going 2-1 like Frankie. I want to go 3-0, but I don't got it in me. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Frankie Cardicelli might be a father the next time that we have him on. Frankie Cardicelli, Brendan Nunes, thank you as always.
Will not be a father.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Hey, all right. Thanks, guys. Sacktown Sports Kings Insider. More Allen Stiles Show when we return. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Domantas Sabonis plays here.
He finds Sabonis. Put the frosting on the cake. Put the cherry on the sundae. Sabonis with a 2-hand flush makes it 114-106.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Save on your New Year's car care resolutions with antifreeze, wiper blades, brakes, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Are you tired of your tee shots ending up in the adjoining fairway while the rest of your foursome is hitting it down the middle? Well, experts will tell you that being properly fitted for golf clubs will help you strike your drive center cut. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio and its team of trained PGA professionals are ready to help you get rid of your banana balls and duck hooks. Hagen Oaks Indoor-Outdoor Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
I'll be honest, I love clearance sales for the great prices, but what I really love is the thrill of the hunt. And right now at Kohl's Ultimate Clearance Event, there are so many hidden gems waiting to be discovered. I just went and saved 70% on cute dresses, cozy sweaters, pajamas for my whole family, and that was just the start. So if you also enjoy seeking out big savings, get to Kohl's, where the hunt is on. Select styles, offers end January 20th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
After you use Bounce Dryer sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on it every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon.
Put a sheet on it.
Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles.
Put a sheet on it.
Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry,
Put a sheet on it with Bounce.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Thanks to Frankie Cardicelli and Brendan Nunez, our Sacktown Sports Kings insider. Great stuff, by the way. 2 hours down, 2 to go, and great work by Kyle. 12:30, we will be joined by Jared Weiss, who covers the NBA for The Athletic, including but not limited to the Celtics. He's covered the Celtics for years, recently expanded his role to cover all of the Eastern Conference. So we're going to hear from Jared and how the Celtics have been rolling. Obviously, a bit surprising that they're not in first with how the Cavs have been doing their thing. So we will hear from Jared at 12:30 what he thinks. It's always fun. I always like getting an outside perspective on the Sacramento Kings. If I were to ask Jared, what's he think of De'Aaron Fox and what his value should be? Because sometimes when you're in your bubble of your team, you don't necessarily know what outsiders think. So I will ask Jared what he thinks about everything that's going on. And we can talk to Jared because different situation, but the Celtics having that coaching change in during the season, preseason, and how the team reacted to that. So plenty of conversations to have with Jared Weiss. That's coming up in 30 minutes. But before we get to all that, let's take a look back at the last 4 weeks since the Kings last left California. It has been a while. Here's a crazy stat about the Sacramento Kings over the 11-game California trip. Their points scored over the last 11 games, 1,721. Their points allowed over the last 11 games, 1,721. That means they have broken even. They have literally broken even. I don't know how that's possible.
The exact same number of points scored and points allowed. Think about everything that's happened in that losing streak.
Yeah.
Or that 11-game stretch. 5-game losing streak. The crazy loss to the Pistons. Fired a coach. Turned around 6-game losing streak. 5-game winning streak. And at the end of it all, +0.
Yeah.
Point differential 0.
Yeah, that's insane. Also, at the end of these crazy 4 weeks, the Kings were, like we talked about, a perfect net zero basketball team as far as where they've been at. So this is also including the Mike Brown games, not just the Christie games. 13th in offensive rating, 15th in defensive rating, 14th in net rating. They have definitely swayed back and forth. On December 13th, the Kings were 12th place in the West at 13-13. Today they are 18-19 and are now 11th in the West. They gained ground at the end of it all. That's crazy, though. And, maybe I poo-pooed it a little bit when it comes to everyone being excited that the Kings could be in the play-in if the Warriors lose tonight. And you know what? This is why it's a 4-hour show, because things can evolve throughout the course of the 4-hour show. Because they only moved one spot. But the depths of where that they had to crawl out of to just get to the 11th spot and be with it's less about going from 12th to 11th and more about being back in the race. They are now back in the race. They've been in 12 because the teams under them are awful, and the Blazers and is it the Jazz?
Blazers, Jazz, and Pelicans.
So those teams are just awful. So 12th was really the line of, are you trying to win basketball games? So they were the worst team by a large margin as far as teams that are actively trying to win basketball games. Now, after this win streak, they have put themselves back with the pack. You play Mario Kart and you see the track and you see where everybody is and you just think, I got to get back with the pack. They are now back with the pack, and now anything can happen.
Meanwhile, a couple teams, Phoenix, Golden State, got hit with some shells, and they're kind of spinning out right now themselves. So
exactly.
So the Kings have climbed back to the pack while some other teams are spinning out of it.
So that's where the Kings are as far as this whole stretch, the good, the bad, the ugly, and where they currently sit. I'm seeing this on the text line, Kyle. It's all caps, so it's just really grabbing my attention. This actually came in while Frankie and Brendan were here. We didn't get to it, and they continue to send these texts in. 916 says, all caps again. Shaking my head, I'd rather trade Herter and Keegan instead of Herter and Lyles. Then they text again a minute later, trade Keegan. And then they text again a minute after that. We also blew it by not trading Keegan while he was worth something. And then 4 minutes after that, funny how y'all avoid dropping Keegan's name. Sounds like he's untouchable, which is so funny to me because we all sat here and said that nobody on the team is currently untouchable. I don't want to move De'Aaron Fox, but I'd listen, but he'd be untouchable to me. And I don't want to move Domantas Sabonis. There is no one else that is untouchable on this team. We stopped calling the collective. We stopped calling Keegan untouchable probably 2 months ago. That's what it feels like. About 2 months ago, there were conversations. Oh, maybe Keegan should be untouchable. Now, I really don't think there's a lot of people out there that find Keegan to be untouchable. Now, I'll tell you this much, 916, saying you'd rather trade Herter and Keegan instead of Herter and Lyles, you're tripping. You are tripping on that one, my friend. I can't give you that.
Yeah, I kind of am like a broken record with the Keegan stuff at times, but I'll say it one more time because we have new people who tune in all the time. Keegan Murray is not going to get traded before the deadline. Would be too much of a shakeup of the core.
Yeah.
This offseason, they're probably going to try and negotiate a contract extension with Keegan. They drafted him 4th overall. He's started basically every game the last 3 seasons he's been healthy. They have a lot invested in Keegan Murray, and so I would imagine they wouldn't trade him before even getting a chance to negotiate. When we get to May, we're going to have probably a segment every other week about what is Keegan's contract going to look like? And we're going to look at the Patrick Williams contract, and we're going to look at other players from the 2020 draft class like Isaac Okoro, who signed extensions, and we're going to try and figure out where Keegan's value is. And the Kings are probably going to sign him to a contract extension that is somewhere in the $17 to $25 million range this offseason. That's probably where that one's going. He's a very, very good defensive player and is probably going to get a contract extension.
Well, you know what's funny is you talk to certain people, whether they be a part of the NBA media or just fans, and it's really hard to nail down how much value fluctuates, okay? Because I would say that Cam Johnson had decent value last season, but his value has gone up based on how he's played this season. I don't believe now last season was weird because everybody was worth first round picks. If I got traded right now last season, I'd be worth two first round picks. So last season was weird. But going into this season with how well Cam Johnson has played, I don't think anybody could argue that Cam Johnson's value has gone up and the asking price has gone up. So for 916 to say I would rather trade Herter and Lyles than Herter and Keegan, that's funny to me because Trey Lyles about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we didn't know what his trade value was because Trey Lyles couldn't stay on the court. And when he was on the court, he wasn't doing the Trey Lyles thing from the Beam Team season.
Well, I think we kind of did know he was salary filler.
He was literally salary filler. And because it's an expiring deal, people like that flexibility. Now, all of a sudden, and 916 is not the first one to try to make Trey Lyles untouchable because of what? 4 good games? Three, maybe 5 good games?
The fact that he's producing something, right?
So now all of a sudden he's untouchable?
No, but this is the same question as a month ago when he wasn't giving production. Do the Sacramento Kings think Trey Lyles is going to be on the team next year?
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is no, then maybe it behooves you to trade him for a player who has a chance of being on the team next year. But I think probably where they're looking at it right now is if the money's right, and I'm sure it will be, why wouldn't you bring back Trey Lyles on a 1-year or 2-year contract? He loves playing in Sacramento. He loved playing for Mike Brown, but he loves playing in Sacramento. He talked about wanting to re-sign after the Beam Team season. I don't know why they wouldn't want to bring him back next year unless it's just a money thing.
You know, this isn't the same, and I know someone is gonna come down my road for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. This isn't the same because the other guy that I'm gonna compare Trey Lyles to plays even less. But I do feel like there is a bit of a parallel, hang with me, between Trey Lyles, and Trey Lyles plays more than this guy, Trey Lyles and Elijah Mitchell. Now, I'm not sure what Elijah Mitchell's contract situation is. Elijah Mitchell has been the number 2 running back under the Christian McCaffrey era, and Elijah Mitchell is really good. But Elijah Mitchell can't seem to stay on the field. But he stays with the Niners because he can't stay on the field, so the deals always kind of work out in his favor. When it comes to Trey Lyles, I would be willing to bring him back based on where he's going to sit in the rotation, because I think this is what it comes down to. Right now, what I'm seeing from Trey Lyles and what I've seen these last couple of years that I've been doing this show, I cannot have Trey Lyles as my 7th guy off the bench. I think that I'm to the point now where Trey Lyles is really good as your 8th or 9th guy, but Trey Lyles as your 7th guy, I have not seen enough from Trey consistently to bring him back, even if it's a good, and I know it'll probably be a good deal, but the good deal is fine. But if he's your 7th guy and you're not getting anything from him, or, you know, he's struggling with injury, then the good deal doesn't matter. If you buy a nice car, if you buy a good car and the car is a steal, but it's a lemon, then it doesn't matter that you got a good deal on the bench.
I think last year they had the vision of him being the 7th guy, you know, the second option off the bench. When it was Malik coming off the bench, it was him. They still had Davion Mitchell that eventually became Keon Ellis. I think the vision was for him to be that guy off the bench. But as the way the Kings roster is presently constructed, where Keon clearly has a larger role now, Malik is in the starting lineup. We're still trying to find minutes for Kevin Herter, and now you've added the rookie Devin Carter into the mix. Yeah, that's just not where Trey Lyles is right now. But Trey Lyles playing backup 4 and stretch 5, I don't see any reason why he can't continue to play that role, even if we don't have to dive into the minutia of, is he the 7th guy off the bench or the 8th guy off the bench? I mean, he's the backup 4, and in a lot of second halves, they play him as a stretch 5, and that kind of seems to be the role he occupies.
Yeah, so the Trey Lyles thing now being, and this is what's so funny. You talk about what have you done for me lately. Keegan Murray didn't have a great season last season, but he set rookie records his rookie year shooting the basketball. And that can all be undone from a not great season last season for Keegan And this season, it's gotten progressively worse, even though his defense has gotten progressively better. And Trey Lyles has a couple good games, and now Keegan can go. Right now, I agree that Keegan shouldn't be untouchable. But if we're putting this thing on a totem pole based on age, based on ceiling, based on all those things, I am moving a lot of guys on this team before I move Keegan Murray. Casey, we see you. We get to you on the other side. We will continue the conversation, and we're going to discuss how to best utilize DeMar DeRozan and his clutchiness. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Well, for everyone that has been eyeing what the Warriors will do and the Kings getting into the play, and if the Warriors lose tonight, I don't know if it's the 8, the 9, the 10. They'll be somewhere in some type of tie. This is from my guy, Anthony Slater. Andrew Wiggins has been ruled out tonight for the Warriors in Detroit, personal reasons. Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Dennis Schroeder, Moses Moody remain questionable. Kuminga, Podziemski, and Payton are still out. The Warriors are depleted. So, look, Detroit Pistons, they've been playing pretty well.
They're actually good.
Yes, they've been playing pretty well, and I would imagine Steph plays. I don't know. He's questionable. So they lose that game, and we can have a little mini party. I'm not against that. I know I was getting real close to policing fandom in the first segment, and I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to do that. But, yeah, if the Warriors lose tonight, the Kings, they're back in postseason basketball, and we know they have the tiebreaker right now above the Warriors. Got to check out. I think that I don't know if the Spurs. I know they don't because they lost those 2 games. So we'll see what happens.
And I guess technically the Kings have the tiebreaker over the Warriors, but they play each other 3 times still.
Exactly. We know they're not going to be able to catch the Spurs because they already lost to the Spurs twice. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Casey. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Casey? What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
So, here's my problem with Keegan is when I watch Keegan, he has so much talent, and we saw it in his rookie year when he was the 3rd option on the team. Mm-hmm. But now he's the 5th option, and it's like he's lost his confidence. You see he's performing well on defense and rebounding, but he's so timid in taking shots that if you were to play the game where, you've heard of the game, you watch something, and every time something happens, you take a shot, a shot of alcohol.
Yes.
Well, if you watch a Kings game and every time you see Keegan Murray pump fake and pass, you're not going to make it to the end of the game because you pump fakes and passes about 15 to 20 times a game.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Casey. Great stuff. And I am familiar, yes. And we've been talking about this because Kevin Huerter does the same thing. They love to pump fake. And honestly, I've said this, Keegan doesn't have – it's not a slow release by any means, but it is not the quickest release in the world. So I do think he gets a bit timid. When everybody was saying Keegan needs to open up his bag, right? And as DeMar DeRozan got added to the team – We were worried about Keegan taking a step back offensively, but just to being a catch and shoot scorer again, right? But the problem is he hasn't been able to catch and shoot the ball and score. He's been missing those. But when everybody was talking about Keegan, and I'll pull the tape on this, when everybody was talking about Keegan going to the rack more and getting to the mid-range more and things like that, if anybody that's been listening to this show for a long period of time, number one, thank you. Number two, you remember me saying, how about shooting off the dribble? How about Keegan shooting off the dribble more and shooting contested shots more? Because, Casey, you're right. There is a lot of pump faking with Keegan Murray, and he does it a lot. How about just working on, I don't want you to change your shot, but just working on shooting off the dribble more from three-point range. If somebody gets in, because you're a known shooter now. They go into games, and the opponent is saying, the hot guys, as Mike Brown used to say, Keegan Murray is a guy that's going to shoot the basketball. So, yeah, they're ready to go. And Keegan gets in those situations, and he pump fakes and pump fakes and pump fakes and passes out of it to Kevin Huerter, who pump fakes and pump fakes and pump fakes, who does have a quick release, by the way. So I'm with you, Casey, 916-339-1140. Our phone lines are lighting up. Let's get to Mitch, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Mitch? What you got for us?
How you doing, Alan? Thanks for taking my call. I don't want to see a trade or let go of Fox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had a lot of bad drafts, and these two, Keegan and Fox, they should be keepers. We hit on those, and I hate to see them to leave. In our last three pickups, I mean, Orlando didn't pan out. My buckets, he's air buckets. And the one I forgot his name. He just sits on the bench.
McLaughlin.
Make a good trade.
Yeah,
I know. Cam Johnson. He's on the 6'7". Can we get a power forward?
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Mitch. I mean, you got to do something. And yeah, the Fox thing. I know I go back and forth with Fox, but at the same time, I would not purposely move on from De'Aaron Fox if I am the Sacramento Kings. Fans on the Sac chat is saying catch and shoot, cut, putbacks. That's Keegan's game. He doesn't, essentially he doesn't have to add that. That's fine. But what you just said, he's not even necessarily that, right? Sometimes he's trying to do the mid-range thing a little bit, and he's not necessarily doing that, fan. So if he was doing that, I'd be cool with that. We don't really know what the bag is. And again, yeah, catch and shoot guy, but he's not making the catch and shoot shots either. 916-339-1140. Let's go to JR. Let's be part of the conversation. What's up, JR? What you got for us?
Did you compare Fox to a Caesar salad?
That was hours ago, but yes.
Oh my goodness, kid.
It's a good salad. It's a solid salad. It's the best out there.
On it then, and good Parmesan.
That's right.
Okay, then I'll let you slide. And would you give Jimmy Butler? What kind of salad is he?
I don't even know. One I don't like. That's what I would say.
Okay, a lot of food talk on this station. Yesterday, Kyle was only talking about all these desserts he didn't like. I don't know if you heard that. Threw you under the bus a few times too.
Of course he did.
But hey, one thing I love is what you just said about the Warriors. Oh, they're depleted. Our hearts are so broken. You think they might have to forfeit the game, or maybe get some guys from the D League to come up?
They might.
I'd love to see them lose by 40 or 60 again. All righty. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye, JR. They might. And if they do, no matter how they lose, we got to look at the Pistons. If we're going to do the pocket watching thing, I guess it is the new year. If we're going to do the whole pocket watching thing, let's see what if the Pistons are full strength or just more, or just have more players, NBA players in the Warriors.
All right. So no Jaden Ivey, obviously.
Right.
So here's what the Pistons are rolling out with. Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, off the bench, Ron Holland, Simeon Fontecchio, Marcus Sasser, and Isaiah Stewart.
Remember when Marcus Sasser was supposed to be a dude?
No.
Yes, he was out of Houston.
No.
Yes, he was.
No, I never.
He was.
You asked that. I'm not like making a joke. I literally do not remember a time where Marcus Sasser was ever supposed to be a dude.
He was.
I remember
can tell
when
you that much.
Fontecchio was supposed to be.
No. I don't recall that one.
So many Pistons fans were like, "Oh, Fontecchio, he's going to be great."
He has his moments. 916-339-1140. Quickly, let's get to David before the break. What's up, David? What you got for us?
Quickly, oh man, you're gonna cut me off real quick.
No.
Man.
You got it. You got it.
Hey man, good thing about winning is winning. Bad thing about winning is Monty's gonna have an excuse now not to make any trades at the deadline and keep wasting all these guys in their prime. Second thing, Mike Brown. I've said it before. Great assistant coach, not a good head coach. And I think a couple months ago, he was the one that says that the reason why Keegan wasn't shooting a lot is because he told him not to. I don't know if you guys picked that up or not, which was interesting. But the thing that your caller there was right. When you look at Keegan, it seems like his confidence always isn't high when he gets the ball, unless sometimes he's in the corners. Then he feels confident. But anything else, it seems like he's a little hesitant to take it to the rack sometimes, which is what we really, really need, is somebody that's strong in there. I'd like to see personally, and I know this is crazy, I'd like to see Jonathan Isaac. I know the guy gets hurt every time he makes a sandwich, but man, that guy he's so tall, and he'd be perfect in there for relief minutes, give him 20, 25 a game somehow. I think he'd make a difference in the paint. He'd swat shots. He could grab rebounds and all that stuff. I'd love to see him.
Thanks for the call, David. Great stuff. Yeah, Jonathan Isaac, that was a big name last season. I don't know if fans just created that or if there was ever any smoke. I know that the Magic, they were looking for scores. So it was, hey, if we give you this, can you get Jonathan Isaac? Yeah, but I think you're spot on, David. I don't know what his value is now, and it might feel like an overpay based on his inability to stay on the floor. But in theory, it would be a great move. All right, on the other side, we will be joined by Jared Weiss, who covers the NBA for The Athletic and is very familiar with the Celtics, covered him for years. We will talk to him, get his thoughts on what the Celtics are doing this season in second place behind the Cavs, and, of course, his thoughts on the Sacramento Kings. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Temperatures this afternoon are going to be well above average. Average this time of year is mid-50s. We're looking at highs in the upper 60s, with overnight lows dropping back to the upper 30s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
The new year is here. Time for a new car. Coach Christie here, urging you to upgrade to a new Kia right now. You might even end up with a lower payment. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-837-1919, 800-837-1919, 800-837-1919.
Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPfest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center. Find out more at CITPfest.com.
It's time now for your 49ers report, brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there.
49ers running back Isaac Guerrero exited the game early versus Arizona after being tackled just 2 minutes into the first quarter of play. Guerrero had to be carted off and did not return. After the game, Kyle Shanahan indicated the running back may have suffered an MCL injury. Niners lose 47-24 and finish the year at 6-11.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
You guys got a new Honda? Well, it was like this. My mom was driving me to school when, bam, our car started smoking. My mom wasn't happy, so she called my dad and said, honey, if you value your life and our marriage, you will take care of this now. So my dad calls up Stockton Honda and was like, can you get me approved for a new car and save my marriage? And they're all, sure, Mr. Jones, we do this every day. And just like that, Stockton Honda to the rescue. StocktonHonda.com.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, that's Broken Spring Experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And we are very grateful to be joined by Jared Weiss, who covers the NBA for The Athletic, covered the Celtics for years and years, and still covers the Celtics, but is now covering all of the Eastern Conference. Jared, thanks so much for taking the time to join us.
It's great to be here with you.
Jared, let's start here. Watched the Thunder and Cavs game last night, and the Cavs are rolling. I mean, I did shows in the summer thinking the Cavs were going to blow it up. There was a, if he stays and I'm going, the Darius Garland thing, Donovan Mitchell, was he going to stay or not? They get Kenny Atkinson, and they've been rolling. Are the Celtics blinking at all at what the Cavs are doing? Are they a bit surprised about what the Cavs are doing, or is it still, if you want to be the champs, you got to beat the champs? We're not really too worried about the Cavs yet.
I don't think they're blinking at the Cavs. I think they're blinking when they look in the mirror and they see the way that they've been playing over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Obviously, things are turning around for them on this road trip that they've been on, and they're getting back home from. They've been playing pretty well for the most part, but the Celtics are shooting poorly. A few of their guys are just not playing at the same level as they did last year, and so their issue is themselves. It's not Cleveland. Cleveland has been amazing this year. They're the best team in the NBA. There are still a few things about the way they played that I wonder if it will work at an Eastern Conference Finals level. Yeah. But they've been pretty much perfect this year. But for the Celtics, it's really about themselves.
Talking to Jared Weiss, who covers the NBA for The Athletic. Jared, I had to get your thoughts on this, and it just popped into my head. I didn't even have this question written down. The Brandon Jennings thing and Jason Tatum, the softest Celtics superstar. You've been around that team for a long time. Do you think any of this gets to Jason Tatum? He's been dealing with this for a very long time. I think in classic, and I'm air quoting, Jason Tatum fashion, he doesn't get the finals MVP. Everyone tries to essentially downplay who he is. So I feel like he's a bit used to it, but you start using the word soft and you get the championship and he's just maybe tired of he gets, not playing on Team USA, maybe just tired of dealing with it. Not sure how close you know Jason Tatum, but how do you think he's actually taking kind of the same thing over and over again? I'd be tired of it. I'll tell you that much right now.
Well, we have a very clear answer on the Brandon Jennings part because he just posted to his Instagram like a softest player Celtics history thing. So he took a direct shot at Brandon Jennings, and then Brandon Jennings did the classic like, "Oh, I talk crap about you. Now I'm going to pretend like I'm your boy and I'm going to come check you." It's so ridiculous when people do that stuff. But Tatum is such a unique. He has a very unique career because. These days, we don't see what's basically happening to him. It's really similar to like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, where they came into the NBA and were immediately in title contention situations. And those two are two of the greatest of all time because they came to the league, and obviously they came to the league later than Tatum came in. Tatum came in as a 19-year-old. Right. Those guys were a little bit older, but they were immediately championship caliber players. It did stuff that just doesn't happen in the NBA anymore. And so Tatum is in this weird situation where within a couple years of his career, he was already being disappointing expectations because he wasn't already that level of player by the age of 22. And so I don't think he got credit for being a top 5 player in the league or top 7 player in the league until maybe a year or two ago. And I think he's been maybe a little bit frustrated of like, what do I have to do? Win a championship to prove that I'm one of those best players? And then, of course, he did that. And so it was, we've done a few one-on-ones over the last year or so where he's talked about this, about where he sees himself and where he thinks people see him. And, he felt like if he wanted to really be truly looked at as a top 5 player, all he could do at that point was win a championship. And I do think that happened. And so there was some irony to the whole benching situation in the Olympics. And while we also had a one-on-one about that at The Athletic, and he talked about how that really affected him, I looked at it as like, just look at the roster, look at the matchup. Like those are matchups against Serbia, who has Jokic, and they just needed to prioritize some bigs there. And I think Tatum looks at himself as like, well, I'm the guy who it doesn't matter what happens, you have to play me. But then it's like, well, there's Kevin Durant and LeBron, all that kind of stuff. So I think in reality, Tatum, I think accurately recognizes that he's the top 5 player in the NBA, and he's not number 1. Whether that's Jokic, whether that's Giannis, whether that is Shea, it's probably other people I'm forgetting that you could put in that category. Maybe Luka when he's fully healthy. Right. He might not be that guy, and part of that is that he isn't tasked with being that guy. Like Jokic, the reason why Jokic is MVP, it's not just that he's so unbelievable, but also that he is so unbelievably intimately involved in the way his team operates, and that's never been the task for Tatum. The team isn't built that way. And part of that is because Tatum can't quite do all of that kind of stuff. But if you're looking at a well-rounded player who's complete and does everything, you'd probably say he's number 1 on that list in the league, right? Considering his defense, his 3-level scoring. There's nobody in the league right now that is as complete in every single aspect of the game as he is. It doesn't mean he's the best player in the league, but it does mean he's probably the most complete player in the league.
Yeah, Jared, it reminds me of De'Aaron Fox a little bit because his usage just with having Sabonis is never going to be as high as the guys you talked about in SGA and Luka and dudes like that. So him trying to get to that all-NBA category, it can be a little bit tougher. And you got to win games, which the Celtics don't have a problem doing that. Speaking of that, Jared, I get confused with the Celtics because a lot of people, it's this fun thing now that NBA fans and NBA haters are doing. Anything that the NBA does, people will say that's why the ratings are down. But I do find it interesting that the Celtics, I see them in some of the worst clips of NBA basketball where it's just a bunch of teams chucking threes back and forth and nobody's hitting threes, but they're the defending champs. Are the Celtics a weird embodiment of what people think is wrong with the NBA because everybody kind of wants to be the Celtics, but the Celtics, they play a lot of defense, which, the haters won't talk about that, but they shoot so many threes as well, and some nights they just don't go down?
Well, the Celtics, at least last year and still for the most part this year, Their strength, it was that they had some pretty good principles they stuck to, which is like they cut out just a lot of the mediocre shots value-wise, and they turned those into three. And they're mostly organic. They don't force threes that badly most of the time, but they do get into those ruts. And then they're also very, very versatile. Like the big thing with the Celtics is people keep saying that they're just a three-point shooting team because really they're the way that they run, the playbook that they use, who's doing what, it changes every night based on their matchups.
Right.
Like they can play post-up style, pick and roll style. They can play having guys cutting out of the corners. Like there's a bunch of different ways that they operate that they're not quite as like you can't really pin them down the way that you can pin down a few other teams with the way that they operate. There's a lot of variety to them, which is what made them so unbelievably good last year. And I think the ratings thing, I mean, sure, maybe people are getting a little tired of three-point shooting, but also you go watch young kids play at the gym, and you know, like when I go to my gym, a lot of the time there's like teenagers playing.
Right.
They're chucking threes.
Yeah.
So what, are you telling me that they're not watching because there's too many threes? That's what they're doing. I think ratings are probably going down because one, it seems like they don't capture the way that young people watch the games nowadays. There's a variety of streaming methods. There's a variety of non-legal streaming methods. The NBA's audience is significantly overseas, and I'm not really sure how much that gets captured into ratings. And then also, like the main post-game shows, the faces of this league, are very negative and reductive when it comes to talking about the game. Like you have inside the NBA where like Chuck and Shaq are just constantly rejecting the way that the modern game is played. And they're not, Kenny's the one that's doing all the breakdowns because two of the guys don't seem like they really watch the games closely. So I think you compare it to like NFL coverage or Premier League coverage, which is what I watch a lot of. And there's so much technical analysis. There's so much embracing the way that the game is evolving and all that stuff. And I feel like the NBA's major broadcast, the post-game shows and analysis shows don't seem to lean into that the way that the other leagues do.
Jared Weiss, great stuff. Jared, before I get you out of here, just give me your outside perspective from what you've seen, because obviously you don't just cover the Celtics, you cover all of the Eastern Conference, and with this name being thrown around, give me your outside perspective on De'Aaron Fox and how you value De'Aaron Fox and how you view De'Aaron Fox and just the Sacramento Kings, the state of the Sacramento Kings right now.
I mean, I see De'Aaron Fox as one of the complementary stars to a championship caliber team. You put him on a team with a wing scorer, and sky seems to be the limit for him. And I mean, I like what Sacramento has pieces wise. They just don't have enough guys having like good complete seasons at the same time. But I mean, a big thing that Doug Christie is doing is Keon Ellis has been starting, and Keon Ellis has been one of the most underrated players in the NBA over the last 10 months or something like that. And we're seeing now he's got all defense potential here. He's shooting his spot up threes well. Like there's still more to mine with this Kings team to see what they can put together. But obviously they're still some roster moves away from being a team that can really contend. And the timeline with Fox, it doesn't seem to be lining up. And that's why it seems like there's a lot of writing on the wall. A lot of people around the Kings are saying that it might be time for Fox and the Kings to part ways. So we'll see. But I really like what they can do in theory if everybody can make it work.
Jared Weiss, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to check out all of Jared's work on The Athletic. We have to have you on again, Jared. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.
Jared Weiss, who covers the NBA for The Athletic, all of the Eastern Conference, but he's covered the Celtics for a very, very long time. I didn't get a chance to ask him what the Celtics' weakness is, but it sounds like just hope they miss. That's what it sounds like the weakness is for the Boston Celtics, and we will know more after tomorrow night. When we return, the Sacramento Kings are looking to break a long drought on Friday. Speaking of those Boston Celtics, we'll tell you how bad that drought is on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-889-5566. 800-889-5566. 800-889-5566.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? Sunpoint Public Adjusters can help. Sunpoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call Sunpoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. Sunpoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
It's Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room. And guess what? Primetime football is back. Capital Casino's giving away $500 per game in high hand bonuses for every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night primetime game. As always, offering the best food, the best service, and the best action with the most variety of games in the region, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. So check them out, Capital Casino, and always remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's time to open up your calendar app for some incredible live events coming your way. This is the Sacktown Sports Live Events Calendar, bringing you the hottest shows in town. Kick off 2025 with country superstars Dylan Scott and Jackson Dean. They're hitting the stage at Thunder Valley on January 10th for a night of hot country hits. Again on January 11th, laugh until your sides hurt with comedy legend Bill Engvall. He's performing live at Thunder Valley, a show you won't want to miss. And the one and only Justin Timberlake is bringing electrifying energy to the Golden One Center on January 15th. This is your chance to see an icon in action. For a more intimate vibe, catch Bryce Vine at Ace of Spades on January 25th. It'll be an unforgettable night of alternative hip-hop. And finally, looking ahead to February 20th, Old 60 lights up Ace of Spades with their unique blend of rock and soul. Get your tickets now because these shows will sell out fast. For details and updates, visit sacktownsports.com. And stay tuned. This is your ticket to the best live entertainment in the 916, the Sacktown Sports Live Events Calendar.
Insurance companies perform a very valuable service, but they want to keep their money. Although most cases settle before trial, it is paramount that the insurance companies know that if pressed, your legal team has the experience to take your case all the way. For 25 years, Ashton & Price has earned the reputation that if the insurance company isn't fair, we're ready to force them to be fair. My mom used to warn me, wait till dad gets home. Think of us as dad. The best part, there's no fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, Sacramento Kings fans, join us for a watch party and live game night broadcast with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner at Tom's Watch Bar this Friday from 2:30 to 4:30 against Boston, complete with 360-degree viewing, surround sound, prizes, and more. Tom's Watch Bar.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Thanks again to Jared Weiss, who covers the NBA for The Athletic. And he did respond to my question. Kyle, you said he responded in the chat when I said, what's their weakness? And what did I say? I said, just probably missing threes. And what did Jared say?
Let me get the direct quote for us here. The direct quote is, their weakness is missing wide open threes all night long.
So there you have it from someone who would know the
Not
Boston
going to lie,
Celtics.
not a great strategy for the Kings.
No, not a great strategy. But the Celtics, I'm looking here, then they don't lose often. But yeah, some of the losses that they do have dating back to December and we'll do more of a breakdown tomorrow, of course. They lost to the Bulls. The Bulls, who the Kings play after the Celtics. They lost to the Bulls 117-108, December 19th. Then they beat the Bulls. They lost to the Magic December 23rd by 4 points. They lost to the 76ers on Christmas by 4 points. They lost to the Pacers December 29th, and they lost by 9 points. They beat the Raptors. They beat the Timberwolves. They beat the Rockets, and then they lost to the Thunder January 5th, and then beat the Nuggets, who did not have Jokic, by the way. So they're not unbeatable. They're not unbeatable. I mean, it's going to be tough, but it's not impossible.
Well, I've got some bad news for you because in a lot of those games, they did not have Drew Holiday playing. So in games where they've had their 5 starters going and Peyton Pritchard, so I guess their big 6, I think the Bulls game is the only one of those that they were at full strength.
Great.
So, hey, they lost to the Bulls.
They lost to the Bulls, who the Kings have after.
Now I got to look
The
this up.
Celtics.
What did the Bulls do? Like, how did the Bulls go into Boston and beat the Celtics at full strength? Let's see. Zach LaVine had 36 points. That helps. 6 players in double figures. Talen Horton-Tucker had 2 steals and 9 points. Yeah, really? How did they beat the Celtics? I'm very confused now. Let's see. What did the Celtics?
I'm starting to believe.
There you go. Celtics shot 14 for 56 from 3. So
56 threes?
14 for 56 from the 3-point line. And that's 25% for those keeping track at home. They took 56 3-pointers. And I guess that would check out with what Jarrett was saying. Just chucking threes all night long and missing them.
I'm starting to believe, man. I really am. If they miss shots.
All right, let's just guess. What do you think the line is right now? I'm going to look it up right now.
It's not a lot available. I think I saw 4.5 somewhere, but I don't even know if that's correct.
All right, let's just pull it up real quick and see what we've got. This is a FanDuel, I believe. Yep, You're looking at about 5.5.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe, man. Because they're either going to win or they're going to get their doors blown off, the Kings. I don't think there's going to be a close loss here. I really don't.
I don't know. I mean, the Celtics can clearly shoot themselves out of the game once a month.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be the once a month.
Well, sorry. I'm saying a close loss for the Kings. I think the Kings either win in a close win or get their doors blown off. That's what I think.
Okay, so you're saying no scenario where they keep it close down the stretch.
I don't think so.
I don't know. The NBA's weird.
It might be respectable, but we'll continue to talk about the Celtics. The Sacramento Kings are looking to break a long drought tomorrow. The Kings have lost 6 games in a row against the Boston Celtics, the longest active losing streak against any opponent. Domantas Sabonis is 0-5 against the Celtics as a King. Boston is the only team in the league the Kings have not beaten in the Domantas Sabonis era. Obviously, that's since 2021. That's insane. The Kings starting lineup the last time they beat Boston on March 29, 2021, De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, and Rashawn Holmes. That's a team right there.
But wait till you get to the bench unit, including big names such as Hassan Whiteside, Corey Joseph, Nemanja Bjelica, and Jabari Parker, who I straight up forgot was a Sacramento King. Jabari Parker gave him 11 minutes the last time the Kings beat the Celtics.
I believe. I believe. Do you believe? Because, like I said, I believe that they will get blown out or they win a close one. I don't think it goes to a last-second situation.
Congratulations. You've knocked off 70% of the possible outcomes. You're saying it will be something that is more likely to happen than not.
That's right.
Sure. Okay. One fun stat that I did find, less fun for the Kings. You know who they now have the second longest losing streak against of any team?
Who?
Actually, the Lakers. Because they lost 4 in a row, all 4 this year to the Lakers.
That's not good.
But that's weird, right?
Yeah.
That they've beaten every team at some point in the last 2 years, except the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and the Lakers got their get back because the Kings obviously swept the Lakers last season. 916-339-1140. Dwayne wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Dwayne? What you got for us?
Hey, what's good, fellas? Hey, great show today, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. The show just keeps getting better and better, man. Sacktown Sports. And it's just going to really go crazy if the Kings make the move that they need to make.
Thank you, Dwayne. I really appreciate that, man.
Man, you know what it is. Everybody who ain't no hater knows what's going on. And we're so close, man. The Kings are so close because they're balling. Now, you know me, I still am waiting on the trade. The other caller was right. All these wins is probably going to make McNair even wait it out even longer, which is not good. But we can't get over the fact that these guys are balling. So I got a new trade. I'm done messing with Brooklyn. And I got a lot of people telling me that this is a lose-lose, but I want to know what you guys think.
Okay.
And I got one more point, if you don't mind. I want to go and get with the Hawks, and I want to give them the guards. I want to give them DeRozan. I want to give them the rookie, and also throw in Alex Len for DeAndre Hunter and Larry Nance Jr. And it's just on the same wavelength that I've been on, and I want to double down on what Kyle said the other day. Those guys with that length, they change everything, including shots. They alter shots. Now, there's not a stat for that, right? If they touch it, it's a block, but if not, it doesn't even go in the stat sheet. But you know what those things do? To get you out on the fast break.
Yeah, I like it, Dwayne. I like it. I definitely like the DeAndre Hunter part of it. And you said you had one more thing, Dwayne. I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, it was just that, man. I think it's those things will get us out on the fast break. And can you imagine that with this team, with Fox back in the lineup? The only other thing is, if you've noticed, when we have one or two of our guys out, our rotation is more fluid. So we're in a perfect position for the trade to get what we need. And then, like I said, man, remember, Dwayne said it first, Western Conference Finals if you make the right trade.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Dwayne. Great stuff as always, and thanks for the kind words. We appreciate it. I love DeAndre Hunter. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've watched a bunch of DeAndre Hunter. Whenever I watch that dude, I like what I see. Let's see here. He's 27 years old. He's from Philly, so I like him already. Draper, you got anything on DeAndre Hunter? He went to University of Virginia. Did know that. He's 27, so he's about to hit his prime. The Hawks are kind of one of those Hawks. They're not the Wizards because they're better than the Wizards. And the reason that they're stuck is because the East does stink.
I love that. Hawks, we're not the Wizards.
Yeah, we're not the Wizards. And the Hawks they refuse to blow it up because it's the Eastern Conference and because they're never not going to be in the play-in. So I don't know what the Hawks want to do. We know that Jalen Johnson was made untouchable. Trae Young has been very confusing. He's turning into Rajon Rondo almost. I mean, he's not scoring the basketball at a ridiculous clip this season, but his assists have been off the charts. Clint Capella, they've talked about Clint Capella being moved. I like DeAndre Hunter. I have no clue. Is he still coming off the bench for the Hawks?
He has to because Risache is now the starter. So I would assume.
No, hold on now. What did you do there?
Risache? You mean say it like
just say it.
The most obnoxious way to possibly say it.
Just say the name normally.
His name is Zachary with 2 C's, an H, and an I.
So say it again.
Risache.
Stop saying it like that.
How am I supposed to say it? Risache?
No, well, why are you now country? Why are you a cowboy? Why are those the only 2 options?
It's Zachary Risache.
Why are those the only 2 options?
Because that's just how you say it. He's French. He's Risache.
Maybe they'd be willing to move off of DeAndre Hunter because of
Risache.
And we can make that happen. I like Larry Nance, and I definitely would take Larry Nance, Dwayne. You know what I think actually happens? I think the Kings actually get Larry Nance without DeAndre Hunter. That's the type of move I see happening at this point. A Larry Nance who might have he played well against the Kings in that play-in. Let's not forget that.
He's not playing right now.
Injury or just not?
He's just not in the rotation right now.
Well, I don't think he ever was.
Yeah. Hunter's coming off the bench. He's their 7th man basically at this point. So it's not unattainable, but it's like he's kind of pigeonholed into the John Collins role for the time being.
Let's take a look at the next 5 games for the Sacramento Kings and what they will be able to do. Also, new results for the NBA All-Star voting. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find De'Aaron Fox is Sacktown Sports.
Spins away from the defender, in the paint, soft floater, back A great play by De'Aaron Fox.
Hey, Sacramento, it's De'Aaron Fox, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Playoff football is in the air, and Paramount Plus is your home to stream every NFL on CBS playoff game all the way through the AFC Championship. Log into Paramount Plus from any device and stream all the dramatic postseason action. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Playoff football is in the air, and Paramount Plus is your home to stream every NFL on CBS playoff game all the way through the AFC Championship. Log into Paramount Plus from any device and stream all the dramatic postseason action. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now it's our lowest price of the season on our top-selling i8 smart bed. Your best savings plus special financing. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242.
Intercepted by Fred Warner.
Faithful to the Bay.
Fred gets up and runs back the other way, 30.
Don't miss the excitement of 49ers game day. Secure your spot at Levi's Stadium for the 2025 season.
20, one block and he's in.
Season tickets are available now. Inventory is limited, so to speak with a representative, call 415-GO-49ers.
Touchdown!
That's 415-GO-49ers.
San Francisco!
KHD-KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
We have hit the 4th hour of this show. You know, we always kind of break down how fast the shows seem to go, and there's some shows that honestly seem like a blur, and other shows that don't seem like a blur. This one went by pretty fast, and maybe it was the Roundtable. Shout out to Frank Carticelli and Brendan Nunez. Maybe it was Jared Weiss. Shout out to Jared Weiss, who covers the NBA for The Athletic and is very, very close with the Celtics organization, has done multiple one-on-ones with Jason Tatum. That was a great conversation. You can go check that out on YouTube. But it has been a great show. This has been top-tier Friday Eve show. And then later on, we get college football playoff football. We get Notre Dame. We get Penn State. You had James Franklin taking shots at Notre Dame for not being in a conference, and he tried to do it in such a respectful way. I think every team should be in a conference. You know, no disrespect to Notre Dame. So this is a great Thursday to me. I'm juiced right now.
Apparently, Kyle. Like 24 Notre Dame players have the flu.
And then I saw something that Drew Aller may or may not have been on a boat like earlier today. very a la New York Giants.
I don't know about that one.
You got to be careful here. And I'm not, yes, allegedly. It's a capital A in allegedly for everything. For all of that. But yeah, very exciting. And Kyle, you were explaining, it's very obvious why, but I'm sitting there thinking Thursday night, Penn State, Notre Dame, NFL playoffs start on Saturday. No choice.
Yeah, they don't have any other dates to do it. And the college football playoff is kind of making this up on the fly, like how they do the scheduling. I think what this is probably going to end up going to is the semifinals are going to be the New Year's Day games again, but they're going to have to either start the season earlier or just hope for it's a year where New Year's Day doesn't fall on a Wednesday. Like if New Year's Day falls on a Saturday, it's easier to build out the schedule. But yeah, just super, super weird scheduling setup. And the playoffs are not the teams we expected at all to be here.
Well, no. And what I do say, I'll tell you this much. I think, and I would have to break down, how viewership works for college football, but I know Penn State is a huge brand, and I know Notre Dame is a huge brand, and maybe they might even have rather had that in the championship, but the next best thing to having that in the championship is in the semifinals on a Thursday with no other football going on.
I will say this, and it's no disrespect to Penn State or Notre Dame in terms of their programs. The game tomorrow is kind of the de facto championship. Whoever wins tomorrow's Ohio State-Texas game is probably going to be a touchdown favorite against either Notre Dame or Penn State.
I'll say this, and then we're getting into this Kings talk, the Kings next 5. We've been talking so much about the three games coming up, but what about the 5 and how we break down games in 5-game segments, or break down the season in 5-game segments? I'll say this. A lot of people were hating on the going to 12. I don't know that college football for their first season could have done it any better, and it could have worked out any better. Just like you said, I'll give you Ohio State's a bigger brand and Texas a bigger. I don't even know. I mean, you got really lucky. Obviously, you snuck in the Indianas and SMUs, and people were upset about that. But you got 4 of the biggest college brands in the semifinals. You really couldn't have drawn this up any better. I guess the only other thing, like you're saying, is maybe Ohio State, Texas for the championship would have been best. But this is a pretty darn good semifinal matchup for the first 12-team situation. This is pretty good for college football.
And I think the thing they can hope for in the future is that this is clearly a different setup. If we had done the college football playoff of the old way, 4 teams, top 4, whatever, the final 4 would have been Oregon against Penn State tonight, and then it would have been Texas versus Georgia in the second game. And now you've ended up with Texas is still there, Penn State is still there, but your Notre Dame's made it through the playoffs where they wouldn't have otherwise.
And Ohio State,
whose season would have, not only would their season have ended, their coach would have been fired. If this were last year and it was a 4-team playoff, Ryan Day would have been fired on the spot for losing that game to Michigan. But now it's like, how people always talk about you'd rather lose a game in the regular season than in the playoffs. Ohio State literally did that because Ohio State is the betting favorite to win the whole championship, even though they lost as 24-point favorites to Michigan in the last week of the season, which under any system of college football for the last 120 years would have immediately disqualified them for the championship.
Great stuff. And I'm excited to watch tonight and see what happens with Notre Dame and Penn State as we take a look at what the Kings have coming up next for them on their schedule. Obviously, the Boston Celtics tomorrow night. After that, they are at the Chicago Bulls, at the Milwaukee Bucks, and then they take on the Houston Rockets and the Washington Wizards. All teams that they've lost to within the last couple seasons. Obviously, we talked about that Celtics streak and how they have not been able to beat the Celtics in a very, very long time. The Chicago Bulls, they lost to just last season. DeMar DeRozan put his imprint on that game. And you have, and I think they were missing some other guys as well. Then it was Zach LaVine, obviously. Milwaukee Bucks, who the Kings lost to in a heartbreaking fashion. Malik Monk missed a couple free throws, and Dame Time went Dame Time to win that one in Milwaukee. The Houston Rockets, who the Kings have played better this season, but they struggled with the Houston Rockets last season, and the Washington Wizards in one of those classic trick-off games from 2024. That was just a trick-off season for the Sacramento Kings. The Wizards, they lost to the Wizards in Washington. So this one will be at home, but they lost to the Wizards in Washington. And I'm sure I will get a bunch of jokes from NBA media, specifically Frankie and Brendan, about Jordan Poole if he has a bad game.
There's no way they can lose that one.
They cannot lose that one. There's no way.
I looked up the net ratings and stuff yesterday. The Wizards are so bad, like so bad. They are almost 3 points worse in net rating than anyone else in the league. They're last place in offense. They're last place in defense. The Wizards are so unfathomably bad that I think the Kings should be able, I'm not saying they will, but they should be able to sit 4 players and still beat the Wizards. The Wizards are that bad.
No.
But if you
stop
I'm
that.
telling you, the Wizards are so bad at basketball. But if you look at the whole 5 games at large, the broader point is pretty balanced 5-game stretch. You've got your juggernaut in Boston, your terrible team in Washington, Rockets 6th in net rating, Bucks kind of middle of the pack, better more recently, but kind of middle of the pack, and Chicago below average. So you've kind of got a relatively balanced 5-game stretch, and I guess you could hope for, 3-2?
Let's not forget, I'm just now remembering probably the best win of the season before Mike Brown was relieved of his duties, at Houston Rockets game where we all thought everything was turning around. That Rockets team was red hot. The coach Ime Udoka got ejected from that game, and I think Şengün got ejected too. And that sputtered for the Rockets. They also went on to lose to the Warriors the next game. So the Rockets might have something waiting, even though the game is in Sacramento. Again, the Rockets might have something for the Kings, but let's be honest, they always want to have something for a team. So a decent stretch coming up for the Kings. And we're going to learn a lot about the Kings because this isn't a tough stretch, but it's a stretch where when you are in the basement, you have to come out 3-2. You got to come out 3-2.
3-2 is the best you could hope for. And I know Mike isn't here anymore, but Mike Brown used to always talk about 5-game chunks, right?
Right.
If you could just take care of 5-game chunks at a time, if you go 3-2 every time, you're going to be a 48-win team. And like I said, it's pretty balanced. You've got a 3rd-ranked team in net rating, 6th, 11th, 22nd. The Wizards, who, if there was a 31st, they would be 31st.
Yeah, they are very bad.
They've got one game you could pencil in as a loss, one game you can pencil in as a win, and the rest of them, any given night, based on who's playing, could swing the fortunes for either team. So, yeah, I think 3-2 is the best you can expect, but again, injuries sometimes change the context for a lot of these games.
So I'm seeing this on the text line, and I love my beloved text line, but sometimes I wonder, why are we like this? Why are we all like this? The first text, there are 2 texts in a row from the same number, and I've seen this number before. Shout out to the 530. But you're going to get it a little bit. Would the Pistons be willing to trade Tobias Harris, Herter and Lyles for Harris? Thoughts? I don't think that's a terrible conversation. I think it's too much. Tobias Harris, he can be a little Harrison Barnesy. I'll put it to you like that. 530. So that one is fine. The next text. Would the Blazers consider trading Ayton for Fox? And if so, would Picks or other players have to go one way or the other? 530. Why? Why do we do this?
This one's on you for reading that.
No, but I had to.
You didn't.
I had to.
This is on you for speaking this into existence.
Please explain to me the breakdown of a DeAndre Ayton, De'Aaron Fox trade and what that does for either team. Honestly, for either, the Blazers are gonna have a 5-guard lineup with Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons, Scoot, De'Aaron Fox, and Jeremy Grant.
Yeah. You know how Dame used to do the 4-bar Friday thing? This is 4-guard Friday for the
Four-guard Friday.
4-guard Friday
and then
for the Blazers.
So you lose Fox, you get DeAndre Ayton, who is overpaid. So are you running DeAndre at the 5? And
just thinking about the Blazers and their 4-guard Friday now, I'm not saying that they should trade Kevin Huerter or not trade Kevin Huerter. I'm just saying in terms of jersey coolness, is there a better team Kevin Huerter could go to than the Portland Trailblazers?
Why? Because the red?
Red velvet, the red, it's kind of like trailing off.
Too much red?
Blazers.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rockets, Blazers, and Bulls are all in this category, but I think the red and black, I'm like, in terms of jersey coolness, I think Kevin Huerter trade to the Blazers. Kevin Huerter for DeAndre Ayton. Maybe we're talking.
530. Why'd you make me read that?
Air mattress DeAndre Ayton.
Why'd you make me read that? All right, we have some NBA news, NBA All-Star voting. We'll get updates there. Kendrick Perkins has sources. Apparently, he has some things to say about Jimmy Butler. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Friday night, Kings and Celtics. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3. Tip-off at 4:30. Your exclusive home for the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown Sports, 1140.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports, taking you up to 2 p.m. And we are discussing the NBA All-Star voting. And when it comes to the NBA All-Star voting, the first go-round at this, there was a lot of conversation about where De'Aaron Fox fell, where Domantas Sabonis fell, and it's on the fans. It's on the fans. I know y'all. I know everybody here is going out there and voting.
Before we go, have you looked at the new returns yet at all?
I clicked on it, but I just X'd out of it. If we want to play a game with it.
Okay, continue. I just wanted to know before we.
I did not see anything. Scout's honor. I did not see anything. So with all that being said, and you have the new returns there, Kyle, and a lot of this does go into. I mean, there's got to be a. I know there's a correlation. I wonder how close the correlation is between All-Star and All-NBA. So the year that De'Aaron made All-Star, he makes All-NBA. Domantas Sabonis last season, in a rare occurrence, doesn't make All-Star, even though he got snubbed, makes All-NBA. So as far as De'Aaron and the All-NBA conversation, you got to think it can't hurt. It can't hurt at all, and it definitely will help. I'm willing to say that. Again, there is a direct correlation between all-stars that then become all NBA players. That's typically how it goes.
And it's not a total end-all be-all if he doesn't get there.
No, it's not. Like I said, Domantas Sabonis got third.
Jimmy Butler a couple of years ago did the same thing, was not an all-star. I think he got second team All-NBA. So
there you go.
It's not the end of the world if not.
But you better get hot.
It is very much a precursor to this. Last week we had some funny names. So this week I want to throw a little quiz at Allen Stiles here.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you some names of NBA players on this voting list, and I want you to guess: does this player have more or less votes than De'Aaron Fox?
All right,
that's what I'm thinking the game will do here is. So, the first name we're gonna start off with, we talked about him a little bit ago. Let's go Tyrese Maxey. Does Tyrese Maxey have more or less All-Star votes than De'Aaron Fox?
Definitely more.
That would be correct. Yes, Tyrese Maxey does in fact have more than De'Aaron Fox. Sorry, I'm getting my sound effects.
Thank you.
Well done, Alan. So yes, Tyrese Maxey currently 460,000 All-Star votes. He is sixth among guards in the Eastern Conference. De'Aaron Fox is at 242,807. So that's the number you're working with, more or less than 242,807.
All right.
All right, next name we're going to throw out here. How about Darius Garland, the Cleveland Cavaliers? Does Darius Garland have more or less All-Star votes?
Smaller market. They're playing at an incredible rate. They're the number one team in the league right now. But he's a secondary star. I want to say yes because they're the 1 seed. And Cleveland's one of those historic sports towns. I'll say yes. They're the 1 seed.
You're saying more?
More.
All right. That's not correct.
We lost you, Kyle.
Sorry, just barely. De'Aaron Fox beats him by about 5,000 votes.
Dang.
So De'Aaron Fox does have more than Darius Garland, if that makes you feel a little bit better. Next name we'll throw out you. How about Franz Wagner? Does Franz Wagner have more or less All-Star votes?
Well, now I think you're playing with me, and I think the answer is yes, even though he hasn't played in a long time. So I'm going to say yes.
Yes, you are correct. Franz Wagner, 347,400 All-Star votes. Almost 100,000 more votes than De'Aaron Fox.
And when the last time I don't even think he's played in December. He got hurt a while ago.
Yeah, it's been almost a month since Franz Wagner went out. Maybe it was early December. We could fact check that later. Next name I'm going to throw at you, Ja Morant.
Yes.
Ja Morant is, in fact, more than De'Aaron Fox.
He just gets out of bed with more than De'Aaron.
Not as much as you think, though. Ja Morant is 7th among guards in the West. De'Aaron Fox is 8th at this point. Next one, Norm Powell. How about Norman Powell?
There's no way.
So you say no?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, good job. Good job. Norman Powell is 70,000 votes behind De'Aaron Fox.
And I feel bad because they've been playing really well, but it's the Clippers, man. What did Paul George say? It's the B team.
Yeah, it's the B team at this point.
Yeah.
I'll just do 2 more here real quick.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
Go for it.
Would you rather be, because it is LA, new arena, right? Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard. Would you rather be a Clippers fan or a Kings fan? I'd rather be a Kings fan.
Like going forward?
Just, in general.
It's like the last 15 years have been pretty good for the Clippers.
Yeah, but you're still the Clippers. I feel like I'd rather be a Kings fan. There's just a little bit of, there's pride there. You're not sharing the city.
But the wall, man.
I don't care. I think I'd rather be a Kings fan. I think I'd rather be a lot of teams fans over the Clippers. That little brother thing it's terrible.
Yeah, but I don't know. This is a fun debate, is who would you rather be over the last 15 years, the Clippers or the Lakers? Because the Lakers have 1 championship and terrible.
But you're the Lakers.
But the Clippers have 10 playoff appearances, 5 trips to the second round, a conference finals.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, big market, I don't care. Give me Kings.
My answer is Kings all the way. I always want to be a Sacramento Kings fan for the rest of time. Speaking of the Clippers, how about Paul George, Playoff P? Does Playoff P have more or less votes than De'Aaron Fox?
No, he does not.
He's less, you're saying?
Less.
All right, but it's only by 1,000 votes. Paul George is 1,000 votes behind De'Aaron Fox. for All-Star voting. Next up, Tyler Hero.
Yes, he does have
Say
more.
Tyler Hero's ahead of De'Aaron Fox. No? De'Aaron's got Tyler Hero beat just barely by about 15,000 votes. De'Aaron is ahead of Tyler Hero. 2 more here. Andrew Wiggins.
I don't know. Warrior fans are insane, but there's just no way. He does not. Oh,
Andrew Wiggins has more votes than Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox for the All-Star game.
Well, they got no one else to vote for besides Steph. There's no one else playing.
Well, here's the real test right now, because we laughed about this last week. Let's see if Kings fans showed up and showed out. Does Jordan Poole have more or less All-Star than De'Aaron Fox? Is Jordan Poole ahead of De'Aaron Fox? Last week he was ahead of him. Is Jordan Poole still ahead of De'Aaron Fox in the All-Star voting?
No, he is not. He is I think he's not in front of De'Aaron anymore because of all the trade stuff. Fans have went out there and rode for De'Aaron Fox. There's no way.
You're damn right. Sacramento Kings fans showed up and showed out, and nope, actually, Jordan Poole has 18,000 more All-Star votes than De'Aaron Fox.
Jordan Poole
has 18,000 more All-Star votes than De'Aaron Fox, which I said last week, you can say go out and vote as much as you want. If we're losing to Jordan Poole, man, I don't know how much hope there is at this point.
Go out and vote. You're right.
Domantas Sabonis is also losing to Jordan Poole, by the way.
Look, Frankie and Brennan the guy, you can market the heck out of that guy. You got a good trust me, I got a great last name. You get a great last name.
Jordan Poole, 260,000 votes.
That's insane.
De'Aaron Fox, 242,000. So
and what is the Wizards' record?
Really bad.
6-29.
6-29. Jordan Poole has more All-Star votes than De'Aaron Fox.
He has played well this season. They just only have 6 wins.
That's the one that I'm giving up hope. I'm giving up hope that anything is going to work out there. If Jordan Poole is that far ahead of the pack, there is no hope.
Wow. Well, great stuff, Kyle. And great stuff from the standpoint of you doing that homework. But I like Jordan Poole, but that's insanity. All right. On the other side, Kendrick Perkins has some sources on Jimmy Butler to the Suns and Raiders firing more people. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Kevin Herter is Sacktown Sports.
Herter's open, steps into 3. He's got the triple. Hey, Sacramento, it's Kevin Herter, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures. Until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? Changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hey, Sacramento Kings fans, join us for a watch party and live game night broadcast with Scott Marsh and Henry Turner at Tom's Watch Bar this Friday from 2:30 to 4:30 against Boston, complete with 360-degree viewing, surround sound, prizes, and more. Tom's Watch Bar.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884. Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, is coming back May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, Cole Wetzel, Nate Smith, and more. You'll enjoy food trucks, rock walls, and a mechanical bull, line dancing, and more. Single-day GA tickets start at $52 at CITPFest.com. Country in the Park, May 16th and 17th with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center. Find out more at CITPFest.com.
California's largest sportsman's expo is back, January 16th at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Find a huge selection of fishing boats, kayaks, and side-by-sides. New this time, nearly 50,000 square feet of RVs and campers. And check out the all-new, fully redesigned Toyota Land Cruiser. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, January 16th through 19th at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
Time now for your 49ers report, brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there. 49ers running back Isaac Guerrero exited the game early versus Arizona after being tackled just 2 minutes into the first quarter of play. Guerrero had to be carted off and did not return. After the game, Kyle Shanahan indicated the running back may have suffered an MCL injury. Niners lose 47-24 and finish the year at 6-11.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
This year, resolve to save on the all-new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. With $8,000 off MSRP after rebates on over 30 new half-ton Silverado LT and RST after rebates. And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing or lease and some other offers. Must own 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
Little Anderson .Paak. I saw this guy, Anderson .Paak, very, very, very long time ago. I think before he opened for somebody I saw, and I didn't really know who he was. He still had dreads at this point, and he came on home since then. But this dude, I forget who he was opening for, but he starts, I think he was playing a guitar or something and then doing the singing, rapping thing. I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. Then he got on the drums. And once he got on the drums and started rapping on the drums, singing on the drums is something I had literally never seen before. And I'm not going to be that guy, but I thought, yeah, this guy might be onto something. This guy might make it. And a couple years later, he starts popping.
I was going back through his old catalog this weekend. I was listening to Venice, which was his first studio album. And yeah, man, he's great. He's so great. Love the Silk Sonic.
So yeah, he's very, very talented dude. And we're hoping that the Kings will use their talent as they are already heading to Boston. They might already be there. We didn't really get a chance to talk about what Brendan and Frankie said. Brendan Nunez and Frank Carticelli, very close with the team and how they cover the team. And we've talked a lot about the differences between Mike Brown and Doug Christie, and from the outside looking in, we've joked about how a lot of the messages have been the same about defense first and things like that. But I thought it was very eye-opening when we had them on. And if you missed the Roundtable, you can check that out on YouTube, check that out on the Sacktown Sports app, and we did a whole hour with those guys, and for them to really illustrate the difference in how they cover the team based on practices. And the reality that maybe these guys didn't like their practice schedules and things like that, stuff that we don't always recognize. And why would we? We're not really privy to that information. I thought that was really eye-opening. And yeah, just kudos to those guys for kind of just bringing another layer into it. When, I would hear Malik Monk joke about it and joke about, going over practice time and things like that. But just the fact that one of the biggest, and this is Brendan Nunez saying, one of the biggest differences between Mike Brown and Doug Christie is how much they practice. They said that normally when they get in today, Mike Brown would have them practicing or something like that. But under Doug Christie, they're going to just kind of kick it today, maybe grab some dinner. So, not to just kind of bag on Mike Brown, but just different ways to do things and just recognizing the differences when we sit here and say, well, what's the difference between Doug Christie and Mike Brown? They say the same thing in post games, but there is a lot more to that. Speaking of the media, I don't know why people do this, but the 530, this was about an hour ago, said the media is trying to ship De'Aaron Fox out of Sacramento. This stuff always makes me laugh because we didn't tell Rich Paul to go talk to Wes Wilcox and Monty McNair. We didn't tell De'Aaron to go on his kind of media tour and speak his mind about it. I don't really know how the media has anything to do with this. We're just taking the information that we get. And like I said, I don't think the Kings should move on from De'Aaron Fox. Personally, I think it'll be hard to find a talent like De'Aaron Fox. Brendan Nunes did make a comparison, and we've talked about this with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They trade Paul George. They end up getting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who, by the way, I was watching some Shai highlights on the Clippers, and the caption was, the Clippers should have known. And he was doing a lot of Shai stuff, but there's no way the Clippers knew that he was going to be this. So maybe you do get somebody if you end up moving De'Aaron Fox, but how often does that happen? That does not happen very often at all. So I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else in the media, but I don't necessarily want to see De'Aaron Fox go. If he wants to go, he's going to go. De'Aaron Fox is a grown man. He's going to make his own decisions. No narratives that me, Frankie, Brendan, anybody else that covers the Kings is going to change that. De'Aaron Fox has told us time and time again, I don't give a bleep what none of y'all think. I'm going to do what I want to do. And he told Malik Monk to do the same thing. Malik wanted to stay.
I mean, I talked about this a few weeks ago with you, like how the best way to win an NBA championship is to draft a future first ballot Hall of Famer and have them stay in their prime. That is, across 40 years, the best way to win an NBA championship. And very rarely when that MVP caliber player gets drafted to your team, they don't really let him go.
Yeah.
That's why the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander thing is so unique, is that the Clippers had him in their organization for 2 years, let him go to get Paul George. Again, a player who finished top 3 for the MVP. So it's not like they gave him away for nothing, but that was kind of the cost of doing business. Was the only situation where a player who shows even the slightest hope of being a future MVP player is if you're getting Kawhi Leonard, a finals MVP, and Paul George, an MVP finalist, into your organization. It took that much of a deal to get them to let go of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all those picks. It's really kind of unique in hindsight. I don't think the Kings trading De'Aaron Fox will end up getting a player better than De'Aaron Fox from that trade itself.
It is possible. It is possible. Anything's possible. But we have not seen that happen very often, and the Clippers would have been okay with it. But Paul George, Kawhi Leonard couldn't stay healthy, and to a lesser degree, Paul George struggled with health as well. All right, Kyle, let's get to this Kendrick Perkins sound from the Road Trippin' Pod with Richard Jefferson. And now you got Kendrick Perkins out here with sources on the Jimmy Butler thing. Let's hear what he had to say.
From my sources, they're telling me that the Suns have a 2-year, $121 million extension waiting on Jimmy. Okay. I mean, I ain't no genius, but that's like 60 a year. Here's the next thing, okay? It's about relationships. And the relationship is Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant. Ooh. Now, I told you this about 2 weeks ago when we made this bet that not only do Phoenix, yes, the organization, they want him. You know why? Because Kevin Durant wants Jimmy Butler. And if he does get Jimmy Butler, which I believe he will, they're both going to sign contract extensions. KD is going to sign as well.
This whole thing is so funny to me because the best part of this is finding out who are friends in the NBA. I'll never forget when Kevin Durant decided to leave the Warriors and go off to the Nets. That was the first time, and maybe I was just personally late on it. It was the first time I found out all of a sudden Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are besties. They're the best of friends. Maybe I missed it. So now we have anybody who is an all-NBA future Hall of Famer seems to be Kevin Durant's best friend. So now all of a sudden, Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant are so close, and he wants Jimmy Butler because he's all-NBA. Kevin Durant, if you are a Hall of Fame player, you are Kevin Durant's boy. Pretty much.
Yeah, and the Kyrie thing was from the Olympics, I remember, because remember they also...
I remember seeing the clips after he signed to Brooklyn. Oh, there's momentum gaining, and look at these clips. They must have been talking about it during the Olympics.
But remember, that's why DeAndre Jordan ended up there, too, because DeAndre Jordan was on that 2016 Olympic team.
Yeah.
And so they made them get DeAndre Jordan and sent out what is now in hindsight a future all-star center in Jarrett Allen. They sent him out just so the homie DeAndre Jordan could play with them. But yeah, this is like the fourth time that's happened. But remember, I will say to give Kevin Durant credit, when he pushed his way out of Brooklyn, the two teams were the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns, right? Those were the two teams he said he wanted to go to.
Right.
So he was already, kind of buddy-buddy at that point.
Sure. Again, hey, I'll go play with my buddies, Devin Booker, or my buddy, Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler does seem like his buddy for whatever reason it is. I don't know what
just
the
two guys
connection
that
is.
just don't give a you-know-what.
Two guys who are obsessed with ball. Ball is, for those two guys specifically, ball is literally life.
Let's get to Steven before we get over to Crosstalk with Mr. Whitey Gleason. Steven, what's up?
What's up, man? It's been a while, but you mean to tell me that you guys at Sacktown Media aren't a bunch of homers? You guys actually give like pretty good, unbiased, like opinions and stuff like that.
From time to time,
you guys tend to do that. You're not a bunch of homers saying we need to keep De'Aaron and all that fun stuff. You guys are reasonable and respectable, and I mean, dude, don't listen to any other station. So. Again, phenomenal show, man. I'm going to get on Dwayne, man, and kind of jump on his, man. Phenomenal show today, man. I really, really like the direction that you've really been going with this show, man. It's really, it's difficult to do stuff by yourself, man, especially when you lose your partner in crime, man. But, man, you've been freaking killing it, dude. So keep up the good work, man.
Thanks for the call, Steven. Really do appreciate that. I'm used to talking to myself, my family, and my friends. Most of the time I'm texting myself anyway, so I'm quite used to it. No, I'm kidding. Half kidding. Thanks, Steven. Really do appreciate the kind words. Everybody's been so nice. Friday must be around the corner. Some of y'all about to get paid.
I think we're just cooking today.
We also are.
And by we, I mean Frankie and Brennan.
There you go. All right. Whitey Gleason comes to shut down the kitchen in about 15 minutes. Well, for 15 minutes. Whitey Gleason joins us next. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Did you know that replacing garage doors is the biggest return on investment homeowners can get on improvements? Jason Ross here, and let me tell you about the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, a family-owned and operated company with third-generation owners that's been in business for 71 years right here in Sacramento. With new garage doors from Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, you'll not only get the wow factor, but you'll also know that you're working with a well-respected and proven company. Residential and commercial, brand new garage doors, or repairs to existing doors, they do it all. Take advantage of their free at-home estimates on new garage doors or check out the showroom with no appointment needed. And while you're at it, mention me, Jason Ross, or Sacktown Sports and receive $100 off a new garage door paired with a new garage door opener. Check out their website at ohdsac.com or call them at 916-421-3747. Overhead Door Company of Sacramento, the genuine, the original overhead door. Always look for the red ribbon logo.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions.
Today's MVP, Emily Neal's 70-inch TV. Because after watching her second-grade students yell at each other for hours, there's nothing Emily enjoys more than watching super rich housewives also yell at each other. Why? Because those women are not her responsibility. And that's why her TV is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now it's our lowest price of the season on our top-selling i8 smart bed. Your best savings plus special financing. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Happy New Year! Coach Christie here letting you know it's never been easier to drive into the new year in a new Kia. Take advantage of special low finance rates and zero down deals with approved credit right now at Folsom Lake Kia.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
I can't wait for this. Whitey Gleason joins us, Allen Stiles Show. Heck of a show.
You accused me of being
today.
Somebody who's going to come in and shut down the kitchen.
Yeah, because we've been cooking.
Well,
No,
cook,
it's a good thing.
cook.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Whoa.
Yeah, oh, here's the LeAngelo ball. Whitey, so
Whitey likes this song.
I knew
Yeah.
you. I know. It reminds me of Big Timers back in the day in the 2000s. Whitey, you were showing Kyle something.
Oh, I don't remember.
No, you were showing Kyle something. Because every often, about a couple times a year, I'll Google myself and see what comes up. And I ran into this
A couple times
a year.
I don't think I've ever done
And
that in my
Whitey,
life.
what did I
He does
send
it
you?
at least 3 times a week.
Whitey, what did I send you?
I don't know. I deleted it. Why?
Whitey, come on.
I'm not going to read your scouting report.
Just
on
read
the
the
radio.
scouting report.
You can read your own.
No,
scouting
you got to
report
read
if you
it.
want.
The only way Whitey can.
Here, send it to me and I'll read
No,
it.
Whitey, it's better if Whitey reads it. So I sent Whitey the scouting report since he's always giving me grief.
I get a text from Allen, and he's like, hey, did I already send you this from high school? LOL. And I mean, that's cool. Latest PG showcase
Yes,
report.
perfect game.
Allen Stiles is a 2008 outfielder, 5 feet 4 inches, 150. Oh, it says 5'8", sorry. 158-pound frame from Concord, Jens de La Salle. He played well all event long. Could have been named to the top prospect list with no objection.
Should have
from any
been.
of the scouting staff. Which begs the question, okay, why wasn't he?
Politics.
Stiles is an exciting ball player. He has a small frame.
No, don't read that part.
And a compact athletic build. Stiles is a good ball player that will continue to get better. He is a top-of-the-order line drive hitter with a short, quick swing and ability to spray the ball all around the yard. Stiles' swing and hitting approach are similar to Kenny Lofton.
Bam, baby.
He's a good runner, not a burner.
I don't know why they put that in there. I am a burner.
But because he goes full tilt all the time, the speed plays up. Stiles battles each at-bat and has good bat control. With his ball-hawking skills, he's a good defensive center fielder. His instincts, jumps, and angles to the ball are good. His arm plays okay in center field. Stiles is a joy to watch. He is talented and plays with passion and energy.
Wow. Would you look
Who
at
wrote
that,
that?
Whitey?
Who wrote this fiction?
The perfect game scouts, man. Look at that. Kenny
That's
Lofton,
nice. Like I told
Whitey.
you, I sent you the applause.
Kenny Lofton, huh?
Uh-huh. My favorite parts
Googling
are...
Kenny Lofton.
I know
hype.
what your favorite parts
His
are.
arm plays okay. Small frame.
Yeah, the small frame was unnecessary.
Good runner, but not a burner.
Yeah. Yeah, it was muddy that day. couldn't run as fast as normal.
I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna. It's one of the things I remember about when I first got to know you. We're doing shows and we would talk about when you played, and you shared with me, and I've experienced this as well, playing sports, how you'd play baseball, and because you are African American, you'd hear the infielder say, "All right, good speed, good speed."
Yeah.
They've maybe never seen.
No.
Right?
I've never seen, never played a team before. I said with the bat, hey, got to be quick here. Hard 90, got to be quick here.
Well, you weren't leading off and you're left-handed, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get on first base. Hey, watch steal.
Yeah.
Watch the button here. Watch the button. Watch drag button. I'm thinking, you haven't seen me run before.
They didn't know that his speed was, what did they say, good?
Good speed, not a burner.
They didn't know I wasn't a burner, apparently. I was a burner. Hey, got to go quick here, guys.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's how it was. Hey, good legs here. Good legs. Good legs.
I have to confess, I might not say anything, but if I'm playing, I'm probably thinking that myself. Playing third base, I'm in. It's like, oh, man.
Let me creep in a little bit here. I got to say it out loud. Whitey, how you doing?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are busy today talking about all this intrigue, on this palace intrigue.
Yeah, and the insiders were on earlier with Brendan and Frankie, and I don't know if you caught this, but we were talking about how the practice schedule being different with Doug than Mike, and how we had heard rumblings about they kind of practice a lot, especially being team season, how much they were running, the fast pace that they run with.
Oh, plus travel, arrive,
yes, practice, and how Brendan said this is probably the biggest change between them. We look at post games and all these coaches say similar type things. Doug is kind of more motivational in that way, but they're all kind of saying the same things. For Brendan to say, oh no, this is probably the biggest difference between them, how often they practice. It did make me think when you hear these guys talk and the whole locker room conversations, maybe there was more to this, and they're looking around and, they have friends in the league thinking, Mike got us practicing doing all this stuff. You just never know. And now that things are kind of coming to light, makes things a bit more eye-opening.
Mm-hmm. And how did you guys get into De'Aaron Fox and trading De'Aaron Fox or not? Which I think you said not, right?
Well, I wouldn't trade De'Aaron Fox if I'm the Sacramento Kings. That's all from Sam Amic. So Sam Amic was on the morning show, and Sam Amic said that basically, if anything, moving Mike, he said the quote was, the writing is on the wall with De'Aaron. And even though they've won the 5 straight, in Sam Amic's mind, De'Aaron is looking at this season, second round or conference finals. And I'm thinking, well, if that's the case, then he might be ready to go. And if that's the case, then what do the Kings do? Get ahead of it? We actually, there's more to it, where Sam also said, and we're going to get into this tomorrow, there are people around the league that have the belief that the Kings should move De'Aaron now, because they feel like once De'Aaron says it, what does that do for your leverage and things like that? So I don't know. I know you saw the picture everybody was posting, including Carmichael Dave, De'Aaron out at dinner with Mike Brown last night. I don't think that's a big deal or anything like that. But yeah, basically I think what people are telling us is that the Mike Brown move, even though De'Aaron likes Doug Christie, it's at the very least saying that the Kings are willing to see a world without De'Aaron.
I know Sam's very well connected. He's a very good chance he has spoken with De'Aaron Fox's, representation or people with his representation. I know that what De'Aaron had said was before the season started is he's hoping that this is a franchise that can not just compete for playoff spots every year, but compete for a championship. So if that's true, I don't see why he would pin everything on how far this team goes this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. He also talked about the fact that, and how do I say this without saying it? There have been some De'Aaron's camp, I will say, on social media, they will make certain things known. And there have been some posts that have been posted, some by our station, just illustrating the frustration with the no press conference thing. And people from, I will say again, De'Aaron's camp have liked those posts. So I do think there is also a level of maybe not just the winning and losing, but also how you do things.
Yeah.
And
how things are run around here.
Yeah. And I've been telling Brendan and Frankie and everyone, really, I haven't talked about the no press conference a ton on this show, because I don't know how much fans care, but fans should care because players and people around the league
I
seem
agree.
to
I
care.
said that yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that'd be nice if they did that. Yeah,
And apparently, yeah, and I don't know if it's too late. You say sorry after someone says you should say sorry. Does it hit the same instead of just saying sorry? So I don't know what they're gonna do, but apparently this no press conference thing is a pretty bad look, especially for somebody like Mike Brown who brought you from the depths and gets you into the playoff. The reports about in the play, on the way to the plane, and then you don't say anything. But people were also saying, people were saying you're there when things are good, but you're not always there. The collective you, as in the Kings, and a lot of people don't love that.
Yeah, if they keep winning, obviously that's gonna
That's the hope.
Yeah,
and, no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah, take care of a lot of that, but we'll see. Long ways to go. We
Yeah.
all get a little carried away here. 5 straight wins, which is great, but woo, challenging trip ahead.
So that's what's funny, right? Could the Kings get exposed in one game? Like, let's say they get their doors blown off tomorrow night, and it's just, hey, there's levels to this. Would that bring everybody back to reality, or would it have to be just a bad, let's say they get their doors blown off, they beat the Bulls, and it's a close game against the Bucks, and they lose?
Well, we had your close personal friend Anthony Slater on yesterday, and I asked him, hey, can the honeymoon survive this road trip?
Right.
And Slate said, yeah, I wouldn't look so much at this trip, but he said they've got, and I think it's 13 of 18 on the road coming up. And he said, you've got to pan out a little bit and look at that. That's the test. This road trip is, whatever.
Yeah.
They're flying high. If they didn't have a great trip, that'd still be okay. They're tied right now with San Antonio.
Yeah.
And if the Warriors lose tonight,
yes,
I think the Kings would slide into the 10th spot.
Andrew Wiggins is out tonight, personal reasons. Jonathan Kuminga's still out. Podziemski's still out. I believe Moses Moody, Steph Curry also questionable. And Detroit Pistons, they're no slouch.
And that
this
team,
season.
they got the bad mojo now, the Warriors, kind of like what the Kings had.
Yeah,
You just watch them. It's like, that ain't right.
They gonna fire Steve Kerr?
Nope.
Better just send Steph off. They just go to Charlotte together or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. The other thing, Whitey, and I didn't even get to bring this up earlier in the show, but the Raiders, after firing Antonio Pierce, as they are interviewing Robert Saleh today, they also fired their GM, Tom Telesco.
He had a good draft.
What a disaster.
To me, that's got to be, my guess is Tom Brady is like, it should be this guy, and Telesco, whatever, he's fine. But look, we got to go to another direction. He must have somebody in mind.
Yeah, I would hope so. It's just a bit of a mess out there. And Bill Belichick, I believe, turned them down to stay in North Carolina, or if he was going to not do the North Carolina thing, he wasn't going to leave for the Raiders. Robert Saleh as the head coach. I don't know if that helps either side.
If you're Robert Saleh, I'm not saying you are, but if you were, would you take the Jacksonville job? I think he interviews next week. Hasn't been offered. The Raider job hasn't been offered, or the 49er defensive coordinator position. If those are your choices.
I think
there aren't many head coaching positions available.
No, I mean, you'd probably take Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think so.
Just because, and I don't even really know how good Trevor Lawrence is, but I don't know who the Raiders are going to have, and they clearly don't give you plenty of time to figure things out.
Right.
So I would take
You're
Jacksonville.
not going to take a job, or who's the GM going to be? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, Whitey and Kyle Draper, they always have things figured out. Kyle Draper eating ice cream somewhere. Again,
Swing and a miss.
That's not what I do with the plate, though. Drive Guys coming up next. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, Jay Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, his arm's okay, but he's not a burner. Thanks to all the callers, texters, sack chatters. Thanks again to Kyle, doing a great job as always. Until tomorrow, secure the bag. And last but not least, I just wanted to say thanks to Jared Weiss. Until tomorrow, secure the bag. Like the beam.
Gotta go. Playoff football is in the air, and Paramount Plus is your home to stream every NFL on CBS